Hey everybody, Bcom here. I just want to address the Kyoto Animation fire. And so if you don't want to hear about that for the next couple minutes, I totally understand. You can skip ahead in the video or in the podcast to where we start things, and things are much more lighthearted. So I'll give you a minute to do that if you want. But this news hit a couple days after we recorded this podcast. And it's taken me quite a bit of time to really gather my thoughts and think about what I wanted to say about how deeply this affected me. So I'll start with what happened. Kyoto Animation Studio 1 in Uji, Japan was attacked by a disgruntled man who set fire to the building with gasoline cans that he lit and blocked employees from escaping the studio. In the aftermath and days after, we found out that 34 people had died, many due to carbon monoxide poisoning, all others from burns or the fire itself, and 35 other injured people were in the hospital or recovering, and this was out of 74 people who were in the building, so almost literally everyone in the building almost was affected by this, either physically or obviously emotionally. Families and employees are still grieving for those who were lost. And there's been rumors of specific individuals who have passed away, but many families are asking for anonymity in the aftermath of these events. So I'm not gonna list anyone, but it's undeniable that the weight of the event has shaken the anime industry. It's shaken Japan as a whole. This is the largest mass murder in Japan since World War II. And many of those who survived are suffering from debilitating injuries and the trauma of having lost so many of their close friends and coworkers. And for me, this despicable act hit me very hard. I was stunned when the news first hit, and just incredibly depressed for several days afterwards, and I'm only now just starting to get back to my normal routine. I was so hurt by this because I felt so close to Kyoto Animation. When I went on a trip to Japan a few years ago, one of my stops was Kyoto, and the group I was with were doing typical sightseeing, but I decided to go out of my way to visit Kyoto Animation's headquarters and their company store, because it's my absolute favorite animation studio. They've changed my life. They've made me start this podcast. They got me interested in anime more so than almost any other studio that has put stuff out. And I was happy to convince a couple of my friends to just stop by the building there in the store, because I just wanted to be close to it. I wanted to be close to those people for a few moments. And I really cherished that moment from that trip as much as anything else I did or saw while I was there. And yeah, this loss of life represents an incredible loss of talent, which can never be replaced. But despite that, I'm optimistic from what I've seen in the aftermath of this tragedy, and how the employees of Kyoto Animation who've been affected by this, as well as the studio itself, are already starting to recover. I was initially optimistic even before we heard reports from the studio, because I'm so familiar with the anime that Kyoto Animation has been able to craft over the years. And some of their shows tackle themes of recovering from tragedy, whether it's the loss of loved ones as in Clannad After Story, or the post-traumatic stress disorder and physical disfigurement as portrayed in Violet Evergarden. Many of their other shows just teach us how to embrace the joys of everyday life and how to cherish our friends, whether it be a comedy like Nichijou, or a slice of life like K-On!, or a dramatic romance like A Silent Voice. All of these stories are only made by people who understand and believe that we need to look out for each other. And we need to share these stories of how people move past tragedy. And so it's crushing to see those people deal with something like this themselves, which is something I never thought could happen. But in fact, KyoAni is already recovering. The president of Kyoto Animation, Hideaki Hata, has said that the studio absolutely plans to continue on with their work while also providing support for the employees and families of employees who need it. In that vein, Sentai Filmworks in the US started a fundraiser and are working with Kyoto Animation's lawyer to donate over $2.2 million that have already been raised. And KyoAni themselves also recently opened a bank account and have raised something like over $5 million in the past few days in Japan. And Crunchyroll, I know, has offered to send fans messages of support to Kyoto Animation if you want to do that. And thousands of people have also just sent the company wishes for recovery and sympathy over Twitter. This outpouring of love in the wake of this disaster has been heartwarming, and in the past few days has often made me reflect on the words of Fred Rogers, whose mother would advise him that in the wake of disaster, look for the helpers. You'll always find people who are helping. This has always given me faith in humanity and our collective ability to absorb terrible blows like this one and move forward with grace and compassion. And I hope we will see more incredible work come from the uniquely talented staff at Kyoto Animation for years to come. And I feel blessed by what they've already put out into the world. So yeah, I just would say maybe go watch a KyoAni show. Maybe support them if you are able. But anyway, I'm just happy that there's some light at the end of the tunnel now. And my thoughts go out to everyone who was affected. Now, back to our regularly scheduled goofy podcast, which I promise will be much more lighthearted than this as we finish out the spring 2019 anime season. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the 99th episode of the Nerdom and Other Nonsense anime podcast. Today, we'll be breaking down anime that aired during the 12th week of the spring 2019 season.
That's the final week.
Holy fuck! This actually lines up so well.
Made it through another one.
Then we'll have 100 and we won't have shit to do for a minute and we'll be able to do crazy fun things. So it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. As always, we include timestamps in the description of the YouTube video and the podcast feed if you only want to hear about one or two specific shows, since you fucking know this. We spoil everything. We've said this 99 times.
Literally.
I know. My name is Kat, and I sincerely apologize for my incompetence and lack. Okay, I did take photos. And I put them in the fucking thing. You cannot lie.
Read the script.
And lack of photos from Anime Expo. And I asked the listeners, please forgive me. Okay, I did not ask that. No, I did send you pictures like a shit ton.
Not like you promised.
Wow. Kat has betrayed the trust of our listeners.
If you scroll through that whole thing, you'll see there's a shit ton of pictures. So fuck you and fuck y'all. All right. Also with me are these bitches, Leo and Bcom.
Oh, I knew that would get her riled up.
Yeah, it definitely did. Holy shit.
I'm getting really good at this.
Yeah. All right. I think we should get right into nonsense this week, though. Well, I guess we kind of already have, but we have a long episode, so we should get going. I just wanted to say a couple things about things I've been watching this past week. I realized that Chinese movies and TV are just as good as Japanese movies and TV sometimes, so I watched some of those. I watched John Woo's Red Cliff Parts 1 and 2 because it's so fucking long. It's ridiculous. It's like each movie is like 2.5 hours long. It's like a 5-hour long thing.
It sounds really dramatic.
It is. So it's like about it's about a major battle in like the Romance of the Three Kingdoms period in China in like 200 AD or whatever. when like they have like all these like fantastical but also sort of historical like warriors fighting against each other for like these three kingdoms in Japan, like the North, the West, and the South. And it's really good, like, because John Woo's like really great at directing action movies. Like, he became known for that in China first, and then came over here and directed movies like Face Off with like Nicolas Cage and John Travolta and stuff, and like influenced like The Matrix and like all these other like action movies. But like this was the first movie he did when he went back to China after being a director in the United States for like 12 years or something. And it's just like, it was like the most expensive Chinese movie ever made or something. And like they just put so much time and effort into it, and it's like really beautifully shot. The battles are really great, but I think what I like the most is like the strategy of like Cao Cao on like the northern side and like Zhuge Liang on like the west and south side, basically trying to like outwit each other the whole time. And that's like, yeah, Zhuge Liang is like definitely my favorite character in this. He's so cool. He just like goes and stands like in the middle of a river because he's like, oh, this is where water and wind meet, therefore it has great feng shui. And like I'll definitely be able to outwit my opponent if I stand here for 3 days and just like figure out what to do. It's so good. It's like so Chinese. It's like the best thing. And so that sent me down like this big Chinese like Three Kingdoms hole, where I found like this Chinese TV show called War of the Three Kingdoms, which has like 90 episodes, and they're all just subtitled on YouTube in a playlist.
We've lost him, Cat. He's a Chinese weeb now.
Oh,
Chinese
God.
live action. Screw this anime shit. I mean, this is like Red Cliff is essentially like live action anime in a lot of ways. Like it's so over the top and ridiculous, and that it feels like anime, and all the characters feel like anime characters. So yeah,
I have considered, because like Lone Wolf and Cub is on Verve, and I used to read this manga called Wallflower just religiously. Like
Yeah.
I read that shit all the time. And they made all these like jokes about that show in it. And so I have this desperate want to watch it, but I'm aware of how old that show is, and I know that
Yeah.
I'll be watching it and be like, what is this? So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see, I guess.
So yeah, that's my Chinese Three Kingdoms rabbit hole I've been going down. Leo,
I
what's up
guess
with
I
you?
could try an episode or so just to see.
Well, you should definitely
What
watch
about-
that
what
movie
about
at
you?
some point. Like, it's so worth it. It's really good. Red Cliff.
Okay.
Just two pieces of news I wanted to say real quick. Golden Kamuy officially got announced for a third season, so, you know, dick jokes. Be ready.
Yeah.
Yes, all of the dick jokes.
Yeah,
And-
the first two seasons were just the balls, and this third season is just going to be the huge shaft.
The big shaft. And Carole Tuesday comes to Netflix August 30th, so I can finally
Oh, I can't wait to start watching that show.
have friends watch that show because it's now accessible to them.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's only the first half, right? Yeah, that's out on August 30th. I'm pretty sure, anyway.
Probably.
And then like the second half will come later. Also, I guess I was so confused because they have like another season of Skilled Teaser Takagi-san coming up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's not streaming anywhere. Like it was on Crunchyroll last time. I guess it's going to be a Netflix show this time, so it's not going to like come out until much later, which is weird.
Not like we care.
I don't think we really care.
Yeah, that show is shitty.
It's going to be more of the same. But yeah.
Oh, I hated that show so much.
Yes, you did.
I did see already another video on YouTube of Rie Takahashi doing ASMR stuff in promotion for that show. So I already appreciate the show again, even though it's for stuff that happens
They
outside
had
of it.
like a live drawing for that show at Expo, and I was like, fuck you. I'm staying away from that. Oh, I was so mad. But yeah, I don't know. I've been watching all the new shit from the new season, like the first episodes that came out.
Yep.
Dr. Stone is fucking awesome. I watched that and was like, ooh, shiny.
It is shiny, for sure.
Yeah.
I think
Although his hair, what is that? What is that?
it's a
It's
fucking
main
like
protagonist
plant.
hair.
It's like a leaf.
I don't even know. It's something. Yeah, his hair is weird, but it's a fun thing. Fire Force is very similar to Promare because
Yeah.
we'll get into that later more, but like that's weird that they So it'll be interesting. It'll be like premiere the series as opposed to a movie.
The movie, yeah.
Yeah.
Fire Force looks incredible because
It is pretty good.
And maybe best girl of the season, Maki.
yeah, because apparently like Studio Shaft, who makes like the Monogatari series and all those shows, is like just like falling apart because there's no more Monogatari to be made on the near horizon anyway. So like all those people who like just spent years drawing their favorite waifus now are just exodusing off to other anime studios, and apparently a bunch of them went to David Production and are working on Fire Force. And like you could definitely tell during that first episode, like a lot of fucking talented animators worked on it because it was really good. But yeah, that was good. I know Leo and I have been like messaging back and forth about Oh Maidens and Your Savage Season.
Oh, that's so good.
And how fucking good it is. So yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Did I hear a whimper from Kat about that one?
Well, I think it's weird that we have the Savage Season and then we have like the Sacred Beast anime because they both sound similar in their titles.
Yeah, there's some weird titles this season.
Yeah,
I also thought shows that are like a little under the radar. Granbelm, I thought was pretty good. Ignore the first 2 minutes of the second episode because they suck, but otherwise I think it's pretty good.
I haven't seen that one. How heavy are the dumbbells you lift? Yes.
Oh well, that's also. I've been working out with that.
Awesome.
Like there's been 2 episodes, and so like the end of the first episode, they made you do squats, 10 squats. And then the second episode, they had you hold a plank for like 30 seconds. And like, I've been watching these in voice chat with friends and then also just doing the exercises in voice chat. Like at the end of the episode, it's pretty great.
Nice. It's like a way to build up a whole army of fit otaku.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like the secret army. Like, it's their secret plot. They're like, we're going to release this in the U.S. All of the fat otakus are going to watch it.
And we're all going to storm Area 51.
Yeah. Oh, my God. That fucking meme. What is that? What has happened? Okay. So, like, suddenly it just started happening and everyone was making these references. Yep. And I have no idea where it came from.
Yeah, I was like, where the fuck did this come from? Yeah. Is this a 4chan thing?
I've been, like, looking it up. Like, where did this come from?
I felt like what I heard was somebody made like a group somewhere. And I felt like I was told like Facebook. I don't know if that's true or not, but they made like, let's just say a Facebook group thing that says, let's storm Area 51. So like people did it, signed up for it.
Oh shit! I saw Chuck Norris is he's in. So there you go. Oh my god! Just the celebrities like bandwagoning on this like are dumb. I don't know. It's the whole thing is so dumb.
It just became so huge. It's just like the Gamer Girl meme that was going on for a while, and like
Gamer Girl Bathwater.
Nobody could fucking get over that shit. I was like, all right, we get it. She splashed around in a bathing suit in some bathwater, and she sold it. Like,
sold out.
If dudes would do that for you, you would do it too.
Kat, do you realize how much money you could make if you got in a bathtub with some like anime Blu-rays and like figures and sold Anime Girl Bathwater? Like, do you? Like,
I mean,
holy shit!
I probably could. But I'm just imagining the day that someone at work would find the video and like know that it's me. And like the shame.
That'd be some pretty harsh shame, yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's when you're like, do you know how much fucking money I made off this? You'd do it too.
That's true. That's true. I mean, maybe I'll just be like, but I have all this money and you don't. So, yeah. But yeah, no,
By the way, I quit.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's ridiculous that people they could not get over it. I'm like, come on. People have been doing this shit for years. People have been like selling their panties and shit for like years and years and years. Mm-hmm. So bathwater is mundane.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good one too. There've been some like really strong memes recently.
Oh yeah. It's been summer of memes, really.
Maybe it's just a summer thing, because I think a lot more strong internet stuff happens in the summer. It's because all the kids are not in school. And they're all huddled in their homes with nothing else to do.
Yeah, instead of doing their summer homework, they're like, but what if I memed instead? And then they meme. And then the world benefits, I guess, maybe.
Or collapses under the weight of all of it.
Exactly.
But yeah.
So much for a short nonsense part.
That was,
I mean, when have we ever had a short nonsense? That's literally nonsense. We can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
So.
It was worth it for Gamer Girl Bathwater. All right.
It was.
Let's get into Gamer Girl
nonsense.
Fruits Basket. Yeah.
Okay.
Cat
All right,
has this
Fruits
one.
Basket, episode 12. Let me take a drink of this energy drink. We're gonna need it.
I feel like the title is like not us.
You look like you're having fun.
If you'd see me watching this episode, you wouldn't say that.
I just imagining you had like glazed over eyes,
Pretty much.
like a donut, the whole time you watch this. I know you. Okay. It's the spring and the start of Haru and Kyo and Yuki being second years, so they're not the freshmen anymore. No one's gonna call them frosh. They're here. They're they're not new anymore. I don't know. It's just the first day of school, which I did like the comment that Arisa made about like, I must have done too many drugs in my youth. And I'm like, bitch, you're in high school. It is your youth. You're stupid. But
Where did you get drugs in Japan?
Well, and
Good
I'm
question.
like, I don't really think you did drugs. Like, maybe you smoked a cigarette or something.
Did drugs.
Yeah.
Cold medicine. It's like
Yeah, or like coffee.
Vitamin
I guess
C.
coffee's a drug. Yeah. But that Yuki gets mobbed by all the first year girls. Like they see him and become like an angry horde, and they're like, "Yes, you need me." And it's all very
Maidens of the Savage season, you could say.
yes. And then you find out Yuki may end up the class president, but he doesn't really want to be. But it seems like this dude that is currently the class president seems incompetent, so I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
We'll discuss that more later.
Interesting.
But suddenly she sees, Honda sees someone pull up to the front of the school in a limo, and she's sort of like, ooh, like all surprised. And I'm just like, y'all already know who it is. Like,
That's
else would
Akito's
it be?
music.
yes. Who else would it be? So you find out that Ha and Momiji have joined as first years. So you have even more Somas in the school, which, I mean, it makes sense because the idea is that Toru is like attracting them all towards her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she's the one who's going to lift the curse, and so they're all attracted to her naturally. So they're all kind of gathering around her, so they're wanting to be near her. And that's why Akito is visiting too. He's like, what the fuck? Like, why are all these people around this bitch, basically? He's jealous,
Yeah.
So Shigure wanted to come too, but they all know he's just being a perv, so they're like, no, Shigure. Yeah, so at one point, Honda and Kyo go to like see the newbies together. They're like, let's go see Momiji and Ha. Kyo sees these two dudes about to hit on Toru and prevents it by like leaning over her all like, she's mine style. Which, I don't know, like, just her lack of understanding about the way the universe is puzzling to me. She's just like, what do you mean? I don't understand. And he's like, you can be spacey as you want when you're around me, but you have to be more alert otherwise. And she's just like, okay. And
But also, like, they're in, like, the school, and, like, what are these two guys, like, realistically gonna do to Honda? Like, does Kyo have, like, no faith in Honda, like, at all? Like, to just be like, okay, bye. Like, was he thinking they're gonna like drag her to a side like closet and like do horrible things to her or something? Like,
well, okay, but she did literally have Shigure call her and say, "Come over here to this place where you're in danger."
it's true,
and she did agree.
I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like maybe she is that stupid. I don't know. Like, yes,
she is that stupid. I feel like the risk would be not that they would do anything to her there, but just that they would like talk to her and be like, "Come see us in this abandoned alley later
That's a good
at
point.
night," and she would agree because she's dumb.
We need your
That's
help
really
downtown.
Yeah, basically. Ugh. But yeah, so then they meet up with Momiji and Ha, and Momiji is in this girl's uniform, and he does look cute, but I mean, come on. And then Ha is like, he's got all these necklaces, and he's got his shirt unbuttoned. I'm surprised you can't see his nipples, honestly.
It's pretty low cut, yeah.
Yeah. And so Kyo is, and of course, like, they all just look at Ha and shake their heads. Like, they don't say a lot. But they all yell at Momiji about it. And I'm kind of like, well, I get it. Cross-dressing is a little bit more... But I feel like in the end, they're both just being dumb. So you should probably just yell at them both equally.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Kyon was, like, calling Momiji, like, a disgrace for wearing a girl's uniform. And I was like, okay, that's a little far. I don't know. I couldn't help but think of the anime Wandering Sun, where this is, like, a major plot point about, like, kids wanting to wear like a female uniform or a male uniform instead, depending on like how they want to express themselves. And that's a much more serious anime, obviously. But like, I just kept thinking like, oh, I kind of wish I was just watching that when I was watching this scene, because like that handled this so much better.
How do you guys have so many thoughts about this? My brain just shuts off whenever I watch it.
I mean, you can't give it that much credit because it's not from a time where people were thinking of things like that.
Yeah, I agree, but I mean, Wandering Sun is not the newest show either, though, but it's newer than Fruits Basket for sure. So
yeah, I just don't think that was in the realm of awareness of people who were making anime at that point. Which is a shame, but you know, times change. So yeah, at this point, it's just a joke. It's just like a joke that they've added on here. But yeah, so. The student council president comes and he yells at all of them and is like, how dare, you know, Momiji wear this uniform and you're all a disgrace, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. Ha points out that, like, you know, Yuki would look really hot in a school uniform and he wouldn't be upset if Yuki was wearing a girl's uniform. And the president just goes absolutely apeshit and is just like thinking about it and can't stop thinking about it. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And it's pretty, it's pretty sad. And this is the point where I was like, and why is he the student council president?
Yeah, right. Jeez.
Then he yells at Ha too, which I actually liked because he deserved to be yelled at. But then he gets dragged into the bathroom to be proven that his hair is natural, which I love that they continued to put this in there because it was my favorite scene in the original Fruits Basket. And it's still hilarious.
The carpet matches the drapes.
Yes. I mean, especially for that time, like that was not something that you expected them to make a joke about. So it's amazing that it was even in there.
That was surprising. Yeah.
Yeah. So Toru still has no idea what's happened. And I kind of get irritated with that because, I mean, you would know. You would understand that something had happened.
But she's so clueless. She's Toru. Like, how did he prove that his hair was white naturally? I don't get it.
I mean, most of all children know what sex is at this point in their life. They understand what's going on. She would know. She is not 5.
I mean, there's a lot of evidence to the contrary.
I really would love for Ha to take her aside, like he threatens to do, and just be like, look, men have dicks. This is what it looks like. This is a dick. They all have one. That's the fact of life. And just see, like, her face just die.
And,
like,
and then
at
Tori's
least
like,
she would then know.
She'd shut down.
"Is this something I can help you with?" Dojin
And
begins.
then that's the hentai version. Oh man. Momiji hot later in life is a really nice picture.
Momiji was hot. Okay, like
Yeah.
when they did the little flash forward, Momiji was pretty hot. Gotta admit.
Yeah, he's gonna be hot. But then Momiji does this very blatant thing where he just turns to Yuki and Kyo and is like, "Can I talk to you in private?" And I'm like, "Come on!" Like, you can't do that. That's not cool. So Toru's like, "I understand," and leaves. And that's the most awkward thing. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been with people who've done that, and then you have to awkwardly leave.
Yeah, I've been in that situation.
It's never that casual. It's always more awkward than that.
Yeah, no, it feels bad if you're the person who's being like casted out for a minute or whatever. You're not cool enough, or you're not in the inner circle. So yeah.
Well, but then the thing that he tells him is not that confidential either.
Mhm.
So he's basically like, "Akito's here." And then immediately Toru runs into Akito and therefore knows that Akito is there. And it's just like, well, that was dumb. So, but yeah, so Toru runs into Akito on her way from being told that she must leave so that they can talk about the fact that Akito is here. And then as like Toru is talking to Akito, we get this flash of Yuki. And I guess you're seeing his childhood and you're seeing like what Akito used to do to him.
Mm-hmm.
And you get this, he's like, "There are things that I wanted and pictured in that dark room."
And the thing is,
so,
there were other people around that let that happen. So it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think they were probably afraid of the head of the family. I mean, they didn't want to disobey the head of the family. It says that Shigure is the one who got him out. So I would think, it seems like Akito and Shigure are very close. Right?
Yeah. They kind of
could
respect
see-
each other, maybe, but
Well,
disagree
no, I think there's
sometimes.
like a bond there. Like, they're very good friends.
Mhm.
I could see how maybe Shigure could get him out when other people who don't have that in with Akito could not. Like, it was probably a thing where he could get away with it
Oh, okay.
without
Yeah.
being punished, where the other people who let it happen knew that if they did something, they would be punished.
Gotcha.
Is my assumption. But yeah, so Toru is very polite to Akito, and at first he is to her too, but she knows like this is who hurt Hattori's eye, and she's just like, "Well, this person's dangerous." And he's very polite, and he's like, "Oh, you're very cute, and I'm the head of the Soma family. Nice to meet you officially," and all this. At this point, Yuki runs out there because he's concerned, and Akito tries to play it cool, but Yuki's just like, "What have you done?" Because he's understandably concerned.
Yeah.
And of course nothing has happened yet, but I mean, yeah. Akito asks Yuki like, "Why have you skipped New Year's?" and da da da. Since Yuki knows it'll hurt my feelings. And then he threatens that he may have to re-educate Yuki in his special room. And Yuki starts shaking as Akito just continues to threaten him, basically talking about like, "Am I going to have to re-educate you again?" All this. And then Toru probably kind of pushes Akito and then just excuses them, saying they have to go back to class. And during this whole affair, Kyo is just standing in the second story and just glaring. So yeah, it's obvious that there's some history there, and this is part of the reason that Yuki is fucked up the way that he is. So this is kind of the first time in the series where you see some kind of dark stuff starting to creep in, and it continues from this point.
Yeah, I like I don't know, something about the way that Toru like pushed Yuki away was just like, so it was kind of like over dramatic, but at the same time it felt like she was pushing him out of like this like field of death or something, because like he was just so
Wait, someone mobile.
Yeah, like he was like
couldn't do
paralyzed
anything.
by this, and like she pushed him out of it. And like she also was like scared of Akito at the same time. So yeah, it was hard for her to do that. I kind of liked that moment.
Yeah, but yeah, so I do think it's interesting that the first thing that Toru thinks about is that, like, oh, I need to distract Yuki from this. Like, as much as I'm afraid of what just happened, and like I'm shocked at this hostility that I saw, I really need to get Yuki's mind off of this, which was probably correct. So she's like, hey, let's have fun, and gets everyone together, and they all play badminton. And there's like a cute sequence where they all play together. I don't know. And apparently you see later on that Akito just called Toru ugly all the way home and was just like very angry. And he's like, Yuki will have to come back to me because, you know, she's so dumb. Like, there's no way she'll stay with him. He'll stay with her.
Yeah.
And there's like weird jealousy there throughout the series too. I'm always like, Akito, you're not a girl. Like, I don't know what you want. But yeah, so I don't know. You see that Yuki begged Shigure to let him out, and eventually Shigure was able to help him. And you kind of see that like Shigure talking to Hitori, and it seems like really Akito doesn't understand the kind of pain that he's causing the people around him.
Yeah.
And really he has his own fucked upness that is causing him to behave like that. And he's not capable of understanding that what he's doing has consequences outside of his goal, right? But it's still causing a lot of pain.
Okay.
So you kind of see there's some fucked up stuff here that you're not getting the full picture, but you're starting to see around the edges.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. This is the part where you start to see some of the dark stuff in Fruits Basket, but I feel like they are just starting to tease it a little bit. They're not really even there.
Well, then you get great lines like Toru saying, I think Akito must be someone scary.
Yeah.
Oh, I know! And you're just like, no, Dip, you dumb bitch! Or the part where she goes, I wonder if he's one of the Zodiac. And you're like, of course he's one of the Zodiac! Where do you think he's the head of the family? Oh my god. You just want to shake her.
She's amazing.
And be like, you're dumb! Like,
Oh, gotta love her.
use the squishy thing between your eyes!
Yeah, I kind
my
of thought that,
God.
like, when Akito was, like, driving home saying, like, God, that dumb, stupid bitch, how does Yuki like her? Like, I was kind of laughing a little bit because I was like, oh, Akito finally saying what people needed to say.
I mean, he's not wrong about that part of it.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's where we end with Fruits Basket. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if we continue this next season. There is a lot of competition this summer. We'll have to see.
There is a good season this summer, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll still be watching it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right, but now it's time to talk about JoJo Golden Wind.
Hooray.
Leo's got this episode 36. So, yeah, by the way, there are 3 more episodes of JoJo. We're figuring out when we're going to talk about those. I think we might talk about some of them in episode 100 that's coming up. And then maybe finish off in the seasonal impressions episode, just because I don't think 39 is going to be out until we record that episode.
Right.
So we won't have final scores for it today. But yeah, we will soon.
Yeah. So episode 36, Diavolo surfaces. It starts off with like Doppio's dying in Bruno's body, and like I guess he got to see whose body Diavolo is inhabiting. And he also asked for just like one last call from him. But, you know, since he's not in his head anymore, it doesn't happen. And then he just kind of dies.
Was anyone sad for him at the end? I was like, oh, he was such a loyal servant, and like he abandoned him.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even realize he died.
I'm pretty sure
I thought
they
he just like passed out.
I'm pretty sure they showed the spirit leaving the body.
Oh shit! I guess I wasn't paying attention. Oh well, I was focused on the phone. I was like, that phone's in the rain. That poor phone. It's getting rained on right now.
Poor
That's
phone.
what you're worried about. Good night.
That rain looks nice. Oh wait, did Dovia just die? I guess not. I don't know. Maybe he did.
So it goes right back into basically where it left off with like Chariot going after Polnareff. And Mista tries to use his revolver, but it breaks for some reason. And then I guess earlier he took the cop's gun, so he uses that again to shoot Chariot. And but it's not really slowing him down. He still tries to come after Polnareff because he touched the arrow and he wants to finish him off now. Mm-hmm. And like Mista ends up climbing a pole, and just before he goes to throw him to the other guys, like Polnareff is suddenly on the ground, and then Chariot ignores him.
Yeah.
And then Polnareff then one of the many explanations this episode. It was rough. Polnareff explains that it is because one of the other abilities of Chariot, it's to cause people to start to change. Basically, weird creatures start growing out of people, and it's just basically David Cronenberg's wet dream.
The Fly come to life.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What was this supposed to be? So like, because people have changed bodies, that changes their soul and who they are. And so therefore people will
like
start
rapid
to change.
Evolution is kind of how they explained it.
Yes. 'Cause I was like, but that doesn't really make... Why would they suddenly mutate in random ways?
Because JoJo.
Okay. But yes.
And then Diavolo also looks on and says, thanks to them, he's coming up with a method to get the arrow back from Chariot. And like from his point of view, you can tell he's right there with everybody. And they can't see him for some reason. And he also wants them to get closer to Requiem for him.
Yeah, I had a problem with that point of view shot. Because, like, I think if it's the same point of view shot you're talking about, it's like he's at, like, their hip level as, like, a couple of them are running in front. And I was like, okay, I guess maybe he's in the turtle? Like, somebody's carrying the turtle right now or something? Like, otherwise, that POV shot just does not
it doesn't make sense. No.
And I was just like... So I was, like, very confused going forward. After that point, I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, they start to go after Requiem, and Giorno makes him stop. He explains how Mista's revolver was broken by force because of the missing piece he found. He also states that since nobody was near Mista when it broke, and how nobody else was near Naranche when he died, everybody except them. He believes since Diavolo had a split personality, he has now inhabited one of them, and they need to stay away from each other. So, a kind of cool twist.
Yeah.
And Mista's like quickly to blame the turtle, but Giorno denies it because he says he can touch the turtle and he can sense only one life force inside. And he's like, I can also test you guys, but I have to come closer and touch you. So he uses that little technique that Polnareff used with dripping blood to know when Diavolo uses his time skip. And Mista is oddly being very defensive when Giorno goes to test him first, and then Mista then asks how they know it is in Giorno. And he says that was because when he moved to the body, he could sense it was empty, when he was formerly in Naranchius. Mista still isn't buying it and won't let him come any closer, so Bruno has to eventually step in and have Giorno test him first. And then as he's walking closer to him, there's a time skip suddenly, and we see King Crimson come out of Trish's body and attack Giorno and cuts off his right arm. But then Trish, the one that missed his body, quickly unleashes her stand, and they realize it was her possessed all along because she was suddenly closer to everybody else. And that's when King Crimson then grabs her stand and says this was the moment he's waiting for. And also now that he has control of her stand, he can manipulate the body. And he goes running after Requiem. The others quickly figure out he has found a way to get the arrow, and Mista is ordered to shoot him, but uses time skips to continue running and dodging the bullets. And man, this next part is... pure insanity.
This next part is where I was like, okay, what is going on? All right.
So I'm going to try to break this down. Diavolo explains that Requiem is a shadow of everybody, and depending on whose point of view you are from, its shadow will be in a different position.
Okay.
So that's like the light behind your head would change the shadow for him. He then says his light must also be here, and then punches an orb of light behind his head and it explodes. And it causes Chariot, the Requiem, to explode. I'm sorry.
So does that mean that at any point anyone could have punched the shadow behind their head and an arrow would have popped out? I don't understand how this is...
It somehow hurt...
The arrow was everywhere?
No, it somehow hurt Requiem, and he dropped the arrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought he said that it's in everyone, and that's why it's in everyone's shadow.
Kinda.
It's in everyone. So literally, if like a baby had punched behind its head at some point, it would have the arrow.
I don't know.
Requiem had the arrow, and he had to be near Requiem.
How many people are in the universe? How many people live in the world at any given time? Like 7 billion?
Yeah.
Would you say that it's likely that one of them would have randomly punched behind their head before he punched behind his head?
Yes.
Kat,
This makes no sense.
This is JoJo. Let's not be realistic here, okay? So anyways,
Fine.
Requiem explodes, drops the arrow, and Diavolo picks it up. But Giorno quickly thinks and turns his blood splatter from earlier where King Crimson cut off his arm into ants, and it chews through the arrow shaft and makes him drop it. He then goes for it again, but Mista fires some bullets at him and the arrow, and he deflects the bullets and goes to pick up the arrow when it suddenly flies through the air. Apparently, Trish had woken up and used her stand to make the bullets soft and elastic, and that's what flung the arrow when he reached for it. And like Diavolo gets like truly pissed now and punches her stand, that in turn damages the body. The two are occupying it. Then the body just goes like flying through the air towards the arrow. It's insane.
Yeah, that whole last part of the episode was like so fast paced and so insane. I had to like rewind it twice to try and figure out what the hell was happening. So good job doing a synopsis.
There was definitely a couple rewinds in there where I was just like, "No, say what again?" Mm-hmm. And even with the shadow thing, I did not get that right, but it was super crazy.
It was cool that Trish was able to like come through at the end of that sequence. I like when Trish does cool shit. So
yeah,
I was happy about that. Good for her. Yeah, 3 more episodes to go. So yeah, we'll cover that in the coming weeks.
I really hope that some of those episodes make sense, so that we can understand what happens.
Good luck. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't heard whether the ending of this arc is really confusing or not, but sources say probably yes. Let's think. You know what's not confusing is like really just straightforward is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, which since it has a 26 episode season, we're just going to cover episodes 12 and 13 this week, so we get like halfway through.
And since you don't have Sarazanmai to do,
exactly. So. Extra episode for me. So episode 12, the boar bears its fangs and Zenitsu sleeps. Man, what a well-named episode. God. So yeah, the boar dude is rampaging around that like mansion that they're still all stuck in with the demon that can hit the drums and spin the rooms around and everything. And he's just like attacking very recklessly, and he stomps on like the little girl like Teriko, who Tanjiro is trying to protect, like just like an asshole. And he doesn't seem to care that there's a demon right next to them. He's more interested in just fighting Tanjiro, who's trying to keep him from hurting this little girl. And he's like, "I'll rip through your flesh with my serrated katanas, you idiot." However, the demon uses his drums to spin the room around, and he kind of has this attack with the center drum on his chest that launches like claws, like invisible claws out towards them. And they like rip through the tatami mats on the floor. And so Tanjiro is like starting to get the hang of like the ways the drums work, but he is like immediately sent off into like a different room at one point. And he stumbles across a random kid who is like Teriko's other brother, who they finally find, and he has like a drum in his hands. But before we find out what's going on with him, we transition back to Zenitsu, who is with the other brother, Shoichi, who we had already met. And Zenitsu is just freaking out. He oh god, he's so annoying.
He's the worst. So fucking bad.
He's so bad. So Tanjiro had said that he smelled the second demon in the mansion at least. And that demon appears and starts like crawling after Zenitsu, and it's got like this lizard tongue and is trying to like lash them with the tongue. and like threatening to eat the brains out of their heads. And like Zenitsu's just panicking this whole time, and like the little kid is trying to like get him to like do anything, and he just panics so hard that he literally like faints and falls asleep. Which turns out to be a good thing, because right as the like demon is about to like lash them with its tongue, for some reason, like I don't think Zenitsu even drew his sword, but the tongue is just like cut out of midair while he's still asleep on the ground, and it's clearly something Zenitsu did, but like he hadn't even drawn his sword at that point, so I don't know exactly how
Maybe
he sliced
just
through it.
drew it and sheathed it so quick we didn't get to see.
Could be, because he has like lightning thunder abilities, so that might be one of them.
Which is cool. Too bad he's such a shitty character.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
So this is where they try to like make him into a cool character, because he like gets up.
They try to be like, oh, we need to redeem him.
Yeah.
Like let's work on this, and it's not. I mean, you get a moment of like, yeah, he saved his sister, but like,
yeah, I mean, like
it's still
he's still so annoying. Like it's just ridiculous.
Yes.
But yeah, he like breathes steam out of his mouth, and then launches this like electric blade slash attack, and just like immediately decapitates the demon, decapitates it, and like he sees the head on the floor and comes back to his senses, like wakes up, and he's like, Shoichi, did you save me? And it's so annoying. He doesn't realize what he has done. Like he has no memory of it. So like he's that guy who's like insanely powerful, but has no understanding of how powerful he is. So he's still afraid of everything. And it's gonna be that for
kind of like he has a second personality, like Diavolo.
Yeah, sort of like that.
He's Doppio, and the other guy was Diavolo.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And meanwhile, Boar Guy is just running around the mansion, and he confronts a third demon, and he uses his self-taught beast-breathing powers, which he's self-taught, to cut off the arms of this demon and, like, cut off its head, like, really easily, and then just keeps running around the mansion like an idiot. And he's apparently been fighting in the mansion for, like, 3 days, we find out. And so then back to the lead demon, who has started mumbling to himself about how he needs to eat like 50 or 100 humans worth of Morechi, so he can claim his spot amongst the 12 Kizuki, who are like the finest servants of like Muzan or whatever. He's been like demoted to the lower Moon 6 or something, which is beneath them.
Because he used to be in them.
Yeah, he used to be part of them. Yeah.
Wasn't he like used to be part of the lower Moon 6 and now he's not at all?
No, I think he's part of the lower Moon 6 still. He's just not part of the 12 Kizuki.
But like I thought that the lower Moon 6 would still be part of the 12. It's just like they're not the upper 12. They're the lower 12.
Oh, I don't know, actually. I'm not sure if they're like a separate group.
I just know he used to be in the Kizuki and then got kicked out.
That's all I know too. Maybe they'll clarify, but I'm not sure. His name is Kyogai, and yeah, he fell out of favor with Muzan because he couldn't eat enough humans, I guess, and so he couldn't grow more powerful, and so Muzan didn't like that.
How dare you lose your appetite? Eat more! Yeah.
So yeah, he didn't want to eat the vegetables, so can't be part of it. Tanjiro and Terako have found her other brother, Kiyoshi, like we said, and like Tanjiro gives him some ointment to heal his like leg and stuff, and he explains that the demons fought amongst themselves over who would get to eat him, and so like the drum guy dropped one of his Suzumi drums, and so the kid was able to pick that up and hit it to like change the room he was in, and he's been safe ever since then. And then the word Morechi comes up again, and Tanjiro's crow appears to annoyingly explain that, you know, Morechi are humans with very rare blood. That is as nutritional as like 50 or 100 human, like normal blooded human beings. So like Morechi is like basically their favorite food, and so that's why they're trying to get them.
Superfood.
Yeah, superfood. It's like goji beans or something. I don't know, goji fruit. What the fuck? What are the other like superfoods? Pomegranate. It's like pomegranate or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Flaxseed. I don't fucking know. Yeah. So yeah, like Tanjiro tells Kiyoshi and his sister to stick together and protect themselves with their drum while he defeats like the last demon. And as he's approaching the demon, there's like this scene is pretty awesome. There's some awesome animation because it's like it's a 3D CGI like spinning room that he's like animated like jumping and flipping around as he tries to like maintain his balance.
It looks even better in the next episode.
Oh, does it really? Well, I did watch the next episode. Good point.
Like, it's neat now, but like it gets way faster in the second episode. And that's when I was like, this looks fucking amazing.
And then Tanjiro goes into this super long monologue about how much pain he's in because he still hasn't recovered from his injuries fighting against like the last set of demons.
He's supposed to have a broken rib and leg. Do you know how immobile it is with a broken rib? If you sneeze, it can bring you to your fucking knees. That's how much a broken rib hurts.
Yeah, it's
well, and plus it could pop your lung, and then that would be bad.
But don't worry,
Worst
Leo.
case.
He's the eldest son, so he can take it. It's like when he keeps telling himself, he's like, I'm the eldest son. If I was the second son, I'd be fucked. But yeah, he gets himself pumped up. He's like, I have what it takes. And like the episode cuts off like mid-fight. Unless you guys have anything else to say about that episode, I'll just go right into the next one because it's connected. But
yeah, just go right to the next one.
All right, so they continue where they left off, except Zenitsu and Shoichi have been like running around the mansion in circles. However, like the spinning that's going on seems to help them out because like they end up flying out of a balcony window and landing outside. And then meanwhile, Tanjiro is still giving himself like a pep talk saying like, despite his broken bones, I'm a guy who gets things done.
Okay.
It's just such like the nerdiest pep talk. And he asks Hyogai, the demon, for his name.
Well, it's not even that he talks about, like, I'm the guy who gets stuff done. He just keeps being like, I'm the older brother.
Yeah.
I'm the older brother. And I'm like, what is this? Like, that's dumb.
It's pretty lame.
That pissed me off a bit. Yeah.
He's adorable. Anyway.
He's not adorable.
He
He's a dweeb. He's a dork.
He's a dork. He's a dorkable. And yeah, the demon tells him his name's Kyogai, and he's not going to give up these Morechi to him. Tanjiro says he's not going to give up the Morechi. And Kyogai gets triggered by that give up talk because he flashes back to when he was still human. And he was like a writer, like a novel writer, whose like mentor told him he was like basically worthless and his writing was boring and shit. And that apparently turned him into a demon. He killed that mentor guy who was very mean to him. And like he was like triggered by the guy like stepping on his manuscript pages. And so back in real time, Kyogai starts rapidly drumming, which spins the room around real fast.
Yeah, this is when it was like just flat out amazing.
Yeah. And like he powers up his claw attack too. It has like 5 claws instead of 3. And then Tanjiro says something that made like no sense to me. He says like, because he lands on the floor without stepping on the manuscript pages one time. And he says for some reason, like this has taught him how to control his body so he doesn't aggravate his wounds and how to breathe. And I was like, how does not landing on these pages teach you anything about breathing? I don't know what, this didn't make any sense to me, but whatever. Tanjiro figured something out. And so he also uses his, he can smell like mold before the claw attacks are coming, which makes him able to avoid them. And he starts using shallow breaths so he doesn't like aggravate his broken ribs and everything. And also like somehow uses breathing to strengthen the muscles around his broken leg. Whatever. Sure.
You're just like, sure.
Yeah.
You're so resigned.
And so he finally uses...
Well, okay, like,
oh, what?
I did notice it was quite confusing. Like, somehow because he doesn't step on the pages,
Yeah.
somehow that made a difference in his fighting ability.
Yeah.
That makes no sense at
It
all.
made no sense. It was just like... yeah.
It almost made me wonder if this is a translation error, just like with In the Pond.
Yeah.
With the breathing, because it clearly makes no sense. So it makes me think that it's like a translation problem or something.
It was probably something that was hard to
sense.
translate. / it was necessary for the plot because like the demon sees something in Tanjiro because he doesn't step on his pages like his mentor did. Like,
or maybe it's mystical shit and they can't explain it, so they just say this.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So Tanjiro uses this 9th water breathing form, which is like splashing water turbulent or something, to quickly run around the room and get closer to Kyogai. And like right before he strikes him down, he's like, "Your demon blood art was incredible," and then he cuts his head off.
Good job. Now I'm gonna kill you. Bye.
And so he has this like little gadget that Yushiro gave to him that he can just like throw at this dead demon, and it like automatically like sucks some blood out of him to get a blood sample. And then this fucking badass invisible cat shows up with a little backpack to take the blood sample back to Tamayo so she can study it. And it's so cute. And it's invisible, and it's great. I love this cat. It's so good. It meows to become uninvisible, and then it meows again to become invisible again. And it's like the best cat ever. I love it. Anyway. So
it's cute.
It's so cute.
I feel like, okay, I've been so obsessed with kittens and cats. If you think I should get a kitten, you should. We should put up a voting poll in the Discord.
Can we have like a poll that's just like, should cat be allowed to own another kitten?
Should cat get another cat?
Oh, somebody did comment, because when you asked about a name for the kitten, they said Zatanna.
Zatanna. Ooh, I like
some comic book heroine when I looked it up.
Oh, cool. So Kyogai, the demon, dies in like some semblance of peace because Tanjiro like respected his blood demon art and also did not step on his writing. And so he feels like he was finally respected for once just before dying, which was nice. And Tanjiro finds the 2 kids who are still hiding in the mansion, and then he like escorts them outside where he smells blood, and we see it's because the bored dude is like kicking the shit out of Zenitsu. And we kind of like go back for a second, because like we see when Zenitsu came crashing out of the house, he like landed on his head. And like he started thinking to himself that like, oh, I've always had a really great sense of hearing. And right now I can hear that the demons are gone, but there's also these like loud footsteps just randomly coming out of the mansion. And so like the bored guy comes out, and he immediately sees like Nezuko's box, like, the backpack, and he can sense there's a demon inside of it, and so he wants to attack it. But Zenitsu won't allow him because, well, long story short, he smelled that Tanjiro was a good person, or he heard through the sounds that Tanjiro makes that he's a good guy.
That's some bullshit. That is some bullshit.
Because people make different noises from demons and stuff, and so yeah.
Well, people don't make different noises because they're nice.
Sure,
people may make different noises if they're a demon, but that doesn't mean they're nice.
Oh man, like yeah, it's if he just hears like Swedish death metal from the demons, and he hears like Angela singing in Carole Tuesday from or I guess Carole Tuesday singing
the opening of Carole Tuesday. Yeah. It's hard to be a normal person, that's just not me.
Yeah, that's what's like going through Tanjiro's mind, like subconscious mind. You can hear it at all times. Anyway. So yeah, he like Zenitsu was like hugging Nezuko's box as like the boar guy just like kicks the shit out of him, and Tanjiro like finally arrives and sees this all happening and is like furious at boar guy and charges at him to like protect Zenitsu, and that's where it cuts off. So that's the first half.
I'm pretty sure though, like because they kind of explain like, oh, I knew all along that she was in the box, but I trusted him because he's a good person.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure if someone walks up to you and they have a demon in their backpack, you're not like, it's fine, I think they're a good person, even though I just met them. Like, that's not how that goes.
I think he would eventually have questioned Tanjiro about this, but
I mean, they've been walking for a while. Like,
true.
They had time.
But who is Zenitsu to call out somebody for being a bad person? He was like fucking harassing women on the road, like.
He was too busy complaining that he was going to die every fucking second to question why he had a demon.
And complaining that he's hungry.
Also that
Stealing
too.
people's food.
God, Zenitsu's bad. But like they try. This is like the other attempt to try to like redeem him because of like this whole story about how he can hear the good in people. Like I don't know. Like, and how he's protecting Nezuko even though she's a demon, just because Tanjiro was a nice guy to him. Like, that's basically
He's a little brat.
Yeah, he's a shonen sidekick. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Anywho. Oh, you want to finally finish that other samurai show?
Yes. Okay. So Dororo, episode 24, last episode. Dororo and Hyakimaru.
Those are the two main characters.
Yes.
If you didn't know that by now, you were not paying attention.
You're all caught up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you got everything you need to know.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so it starts out with like Hyakimaru's mom running through the reeds with Bihuamaru. I can never say his name because it has a W where a W does not belong. And it's like, it's supposed to be kind of like a weird flashback of like when they put like Hyakimaru in the reeds, I'm guessing, because it's like in the same area where they put him and all that. Hyakimaru and Tahomaru are fighting in the castle, and they seem to both be kind of fighting for the same like place in this world in a way. I don't know, like throughout this whole thing, Tahomaru just seems to think that Dororo kind of stole his spot or something. I don't know. And Hyakimaru obviously feels the same way about Tahomaru. For instance, like Tahomaru feels like his mom was always thinking about Hyakimaru instead of focusing on him. And he's like, you were never there, but I was there, and nothing in this castle is a testimony to you. It's all mine. And you know, Hyakimaru's like, well, it should have been mine. And then at one point, Hyakimaru kind of asks his brother, why are you lacking something just like me? It, like, kind of saying, even though Tahomaru has had all these things, he still is missing something.
Yeah, like
I felt like that was pretty philosophical.
Yeah,
yeah, because like Hyakimaru's had to get everything he ever could like taken away from him. Like, he's had to get it all back himself with no help from anybody except for, like, Jukai and, like, Dororo. And he's basically had to earn everything he's ever had. And he's like, how have you, who have just handed everything, how are you still lacking things? It's, like, ridiculous.
Yeah, and then Tahomaru's like, well, if I'm missing something, you took it from me. And Hyakimaru is like, I did? Because, I mean, he's not even been there to take anything from him.
Right.
It's almost like he's taken it from himself. I don't know. It's interesting. Did you have a take on that at all?
No, I think you pretty much summed it up. Like, yeah, I think that's interesting, but yeah.
Yeah. And then Hyakimaru's mom goes into this well leading to the castle. Because she, I guess, wants to go see them. Like, I don't really know what she thinks she's going to do, but I guess she wants to be there. And she's met by, I guess his name is Jukai. I never really learned his name. The guy who raised Hyakimaru.
Jukai.
Yeah, that's it.
And he helps her to the castle. And meanwhile, the brothers are still fighting. And at times like this, like, I always think to myself watching these drawn out fights, no fight in reality lasts this long.
No, nope.
They are all over fast. And the more weapons that you have, the faster it's over.
Also, like, blades don't just like stay up against each other at angles. They like slide very easily. Like, you know how, like, because they're constantly just like blocking each other's katanas at like different angles. Like, actually, in this episode, I thought it made more sense than it usually does, because usually it's just like one katana versus katana. But Dororo, Hyakimaru at least has like the dual katanas that he can kind of like stop Tahomaru's blade with, and it kind of makes sense that it would hold in place. But there's like a lot of samurai battles in anime where like two just single katanas like clash at like very like high angles, where you would think the blade would just continue moving forward, especially with all the force they're using to like press it, but it doesn't for some reason. And so I don't know, there was a couple moments like that in this fight too.
So I had a different take on how unrealistic something was, and that's the fire burning. Do you know how much smoke is involved with house fires? This just gets wrong in all entertainment.
Neither of them would be breathing,
No,
basically.
especially, it doesn't take much fire for just easily under 60 seconds to completely like fill a room with smoke. Like it'd be they'd be dead pretty quick.
I do think that building is open to the air though, so at least the smoke would have somewhere to escape.
Being surrounded by fire like that, it would still be way too bad.
It would be way smokier, but you know, for the anime production, you need to be able to see the characters, I guess. So
yeah, that's just a little bit of movie magic that's in all entertainment, really.
Yeah,
I guess. But yeah, so they're fighting. It goes on forever. Tahomaru's finally like, oh wait, hold on. At one point, Hyakimaru could have killed his brother, but he doesn't. Tahomaru's like, why didn't you? And Hyakimaru's kind of like, Like, it's hard to say their names constantly because they both have the same, like, ending part.
Yeah. Maru.
Yeah. He basically, Hyakimaru says, like, you're the same as me. We're both human. Tahomaru at this point is like, I lose. I've always been losing to you. Fuck you. Hyakimaru, like, sits next to his brother, like, oh, there. I know that you're a loser, but it's okay. And suddenly the demon takes control of Tahomaru because of the eyes, I guess, and Tahomaru's like, oh no, demons don't give up so easily. And it's like, I'm gonna give these back to you, and like gouges the eyes out of his own head and gives them to Hyakimaru.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
Yeah, but this point, this makes no sense. Like, there's just lots of lights and like shit happens, and there's a bunch of like dramatic music that sounds like church music, and it's like, oh, and there's just like weird lights flashing, and I'm like, what is even going on? I don't know what's happening. And then Dororo goes down to the well to also see what the fuck is going on, because I'm sure to them they're like, what the hell? And then back at the castle, Dororo suddenly carves open the floor and like stabs a red crystal thing.
Oh, that was
like a demon tree.
Well, Hyakimaru did that, not Dororo, but yes.
Oh yeah, sorry, Hyakimaru. But I'm just like, wait, are we gonna get an explanation on why he knew that there was a crystal thing in the ground and why he stabbed it and why that worked?
No.
But no, we don't.
Why is it there in the first place?
No explanation.
Like, what?
No
yeah, that was so
explanation.
weird. It was like underneath the floorboards of the house. It's like it had been growing there like a flower or something. I don't know.
It's like, this was the problem all along.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like this demon flower, and yeah, he stabs it.
Yeah, and then he stabs it, and his new eyes fall out of his head.
Yeah.
And they dissolve, and then a fancy light just leaks down into the ground. Again, no explanation. There's just lights. And then Tahomaru and Hyakimaru both collapse. And I'm like, what? And then the mom goes to Hyakimaru first. And I'm like, sick burn. She loves him more. But, and she says, well, it kind of is that way. And she says she should have never let him go. And she always loved him and blah, blah. And his dad is I guess his dad figure. I don't know.
Yeah.
He did raise him. Yeah. Gives him like a Buddha statue and tells him
the goddess of mercy. Yeah, from the very first episode.
Yeah. And is like, be a human. Don't be a demon. Like, go be good.
By the way, the mom is like looking all Virgin Mary-ish throughout this scene.
I know.
Yeah.
Like the weird drape thing on her. And, yeah. Yeah. Very, very Virgin Mary. And at this point, Hyakimaru kind of acts like he's blind again, and so you think his eyes are gone. And he's led off to the shaft of Dororo. Okay, and at this point, they could have all left.
Yes, they could.
Let's be clear about this. All of them. Tahomaru, the mom,
and Jukai.
Jukai could have carried Tahomaru outside.
They could have all gotten the fuck out of there. Instead, they had to have this whole speech inside the burning building and then help one of them out of the burning building and just patiently wait while the opening collapses so the rest of them are trapped.
I knew you were going to hate that.
What is that?
It was dumb.
That's bullshit.
I don't think they died because it doesn't show them dying. I mean,
They totally died.
I feel like they got out and got away.
There was no other escape route. The shaft was the only escape route.
There was like a balcony right behind them.
It was confirmed later in the episode that some of them died. At least, yeah. Like Dororo confirmed it later. Yeah.
It's almost like they went in there to die. It's almost like they just thought to themselves, you know what? I really feel like dying. Let's do this. Like, that's what it felt like.
There was also
and it was frustrating.
Something I noticed really funny. Right at the 12-minute mark, Jukai's arm is just on fire.
Yeah, it's so dumb looking.
I rewound it and I was like, I saw that incorrectly. Something behind him's on fire. But no, it's like his arm's on fucking fire.
No, they messed up the compositing there or something. I think like the hills behind him are supposed to be on fire or something, but it just looks like his whole right shoulder is.
They fucked part of this episode up. And I mean, they did do a decent job on some of the animations of the fight, but there were parts of this that they fucked up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's this weird shot of the mountain.
No. I have it all in caps.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the mountain.
Fine.
Okay. Don't worry, Bcom. I did not miss that.
I lost my mind when I saw that.
I know. I flipped my shit too. Okay. So they go off, like Yakimaru is led down the shaft, they're escaping. The rest of them just patiently watch as the shaft crumbles. Don't try to get out. They're just like, goodbye, we will now die. And so and I'm like, what the fuck? And at this point, you get like a snapshot of Hyakumaru's vision, and it looks like he still has eyes, but he can't see. Like, he still has the vision he had before.
Yeah.
And then the mom and the dude are left, and I know his name is Juzai or whatever. Jukai. I don't know. It's been a while since he was in this show.
Uh-huh.
They go to Tamamaro, and she, like, holds him and is like, I'll be with you forever, because I chose to die.
Yep.
I also chose not to save you. And then they all fucking die.
Yep.
And then as Hyakumaru and Dororo are pulled up, Hyakumaru's like, you're very pretty, and the sky is pretty. And that's weird, because he totally didn't have vision a second ago.
Oh, so no, he did he didn't
happened?
have vision, and then his vision like cleared as he was looking at his mother and Jukai right before they went to Taomaru. It was like his vision cleared up very suddenly, and so he did get his vision, his real vision, back just before this. Yeah,
that's just some mystical shit that made not very much sense. But yeah, so then as they're all watching this castle burn down and everyone inside is dead, Bihuamaru is like, this is the closure of your fate. Watch it closely. And then this shit happens. So the castle is collapsing, and instead of showing the castle collapsing, they choose to take a single shot of the mountain. And it's almost like they've taken a camera, and instead of like making like, oh, it collapsed, they've just shooken the camera and like gone close up of certain areas of this mountain.
It's so
like,
dumb.
oh, like a 5-year-old with like a toy truck.
just like
That's like, oh no, it crashed. Like that's what this was, basically.
totally like drunken camera operator, just like
Yes. It's almost like they looked at each other and they were like, we don't have money for this. We don't know what to do. And then they were all drunk in a room late at night. And listen, I've been there. I've been slightly intoxicated in a room at work late at night. I understand that decisions are made that you regret. But this is going to be on TV.
I feel like somebody was in like Adobe After Effects or something and just like had like this still frame and just like selected all of it and just started dragging it around like crazy.
That's what it looked like. It was bad. I could have done better than that. And that's sad of me to say.
It was pretty ridiculous. Oh, man.
It was bad. So Daigo gets the news that his wife and son have died, and he just keeps...
Say die, or did they say missing?
Yeah.
They said died.
They said died.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was like, well, I'm going to keep killing the Sakura army, and just basically keeps doing that.
Oh, no, wait. I think at this point
little...
they said missing Leo, but then later they said they died.
Well, but they say die, yeah. They're gone. He knows that. And the final demon statue also crumbles. They have like this narration where they're like, that day the final demon statue crumbled, but no one was around to see it fall.
Yeah, who is this narrator? Where's he been the whole series?
I know!
Who the fuck are you?
So it becomes clear, like they kind of do a little series of, then this happened. Dororo explains like to a bunch of people about her plan of the people making their own country for themselves and not relying on the samurai and how she has the money to do it. And it seems like that's what she's going to do with the land. She's going to become kind of a leader of sorts. You find out that Bihomaru, I can't say that.
Biwa.
Biwa.
He was a samurai, which is interesting. I guess it makes sense because he's a good fighter.
And he has like that sword in his loot. But
yes.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hyakimaru tracks down his dad in the empty demon hall. Daigo asks like how he likes the land now that he can see it. And when Hyakimaru says it's not pretty, Daigo is basically like, well, it's because you fucked it up.
Yeah.
The land and its people have bled too much for you. And at this point, I kind of thought to myself, aren't you projecting a little bit
right?
there? And it's clear that he's still consumed by his ambition and greed. Daigo's like, my only regret is that I didn't strangle you with my own hands. And he says that if he is killed, he will only come back as a demon to protect the land. And then you get this shot where you think that Hyakimaru was going to stab him, but then you find out that he didn't stab him. He just stabbed like the helmet next to him.
Yeah.
And he basically tells his dad like, go down the path of good because I'm going down the path of good and you should too. And he gives him the Buddha statue.
So how'd you feel about that, Kat? Did you want him to kill Daigo, or did you want him...
I thought it was a good way to... Because, I mean, it makes his dad regret it.
Yeah.
And that's really what he should do. It makes Daigo regret his path and wish that Hyakimaru had succeeded him,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe then they could have had the prosperity that he wanted so badly. I think it was a good choice. I mean, what is Daigo going to do at this point? He's got... jack shit.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Like, killing him now wouldn't change anything, I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked the quote that Daigo says where he's like, within you is a strength to live on, a strength that demons crave so badly. And they both... and at this point, you find out that Hyakimaru kind of bailed on Dororo, which is shitty.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, and they explain it as he needs time to emotionally heal and, from killing all those people.
When Dororo said, like, Hyakimaru went off to see if something about his body worked, I was like, all right, who's Hyakimaru going to fuck? I was like, oh, wait, Mio died. He can't go there. Like, like, if Mio was still alive, this would be perfect. Like, you just go back there.
Hyakimaru went to whore his way across. He needed those whoring years in before he settled down with Dororo.
Made a lot of little Hyakimarus along the way.
Maybe. They both go down their separate paths for several years, and then it shows them grown up running towards each other, meeting again, and I'm like, okay, but that was still shitty.
Is this Usagi drop? Is that what this is now?
Probably, honestly. It's another Usagi drop. They always want the, like, pubescent women. I don't know why.
Oh, man. I liked the end of this. The only part I really didn't like was the whole thing with Jukai and Nue no Kata just dying with Tahomaru. I felt like that was just unnecessary.
I just feel like they got out a different way and they just left it up to your imagination.
Maybe, but then where the fuck are they?
I feel like whenever they do the mystical shit in any anime, it makes it hard for there to be a conclusive end.
Yeah.
And they have to sort of make up some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And for it having all these mystical elements, it was a decent end to the show. I've definitely seen a lot worse endings.
Yeah.
It's always a little frustrating because they can never once you have mystical shit in an anime, it's very hard to end it in a way that everyone's happy.
Yeah, that's true. I was also not sure what we were supposed to take away from like Biomaru being revealed as a samurai. Like, I was just like, okay, he's a samurai, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they made it this huge reveal, like everyone was gonna gasp or something, and it really wasn't.
Wow,
Yeah.
I must have just glossed over that because I don't remember that part.
Yeah, it's not even that important. Like, yeah, it's just okay.
The only reason it stuck out to me is because they obviously made it a narratively a thing where you were supposed to be surprised.
Yeah, no, I just like
shocked.
wasn't surprised. I was just like, I don't know what relevance that has to anything. Like, there's this whole arc about how like they need to take control of their own destiny and the people need to rise up and not depend on the samurai. But so maybe Biwamaru was trying to oversee that as a samurai. Maybe he believed in that as well, and that's why he was like helping Dororo and Yakimaru along the way. But even then, it's just like mildly interesting. It's not like a big reveal, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anywho, anything else?
No, I think we're good with this. It ended well.
It did. It ended pretty
could
well.
have been a lot
Yeah.
worse. Yeah.
All right, let's take a short break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Cool.
Yep.
The following is an extract from Reanimator Pod episode 47, Blood, Blood, Blood. Taka discusses Des Irae.
Most of the characters in the show, particularly the villains, have more than one name, like many more than one. For example, the super powerful mage from my synopsis is Carl Kraft, also known as Mercurius, also known as Faust, also known as Saint Germain, also known as Paracelsus, also known as Cagliostro, also known as Copophilius Smudge. Woo! Okay, that last one is a Reanimator special, but the rest are all legit. Like, he actually has those names. How about a few more?
He's got more names?
No, they're other characters. He actually had that many names, though. Wilhelm Ehrenberg is Kazikli Bey, because why not? Valeria Trifa is Christoph Lohengrin, who's a priest and is commonly referred to as Father. Lord Heydrich is also Reinhard, and Teresia is Rhea, but Fujiren, aka Zarathustra, is our main character, and also refers to Rhea as Senpai. So we never really learn her name until other characters start calling her Rhea. But really her name's Teresia, so I don't really know how that adds up. Ugh.
And if you like that and you want to hear more from the Reanimator Pod, head on over to reanimatorpod.com. That's reanimatorpod.com. New episodes are out every Monday.
Don't drop that. Hey, don't drop that.
Hey, do you like wrestling?
Whether it be in a bar, an arena, some weird place in Asia, or in a stadium?
Or the occasional penis plex?
Well, if any of these things might tickle your fancy, anywhere in between from penises to wrestling, you can come and check out our podcast.
Our podcast name is Smack It Down. We talk all things WWE, New Japan, anything else in between.
I'm Jay Silver,
I'm Corey Gold.
and we look forward to you joining us.
Happy Rusev Day.
Happy Rusev Day indeed.
And we're back with the final episode of Attack on Titan, Season 3, Part 2. Episode 59 or 10, whichever one you want to pick. The Other Side of the Wall.
What's there?
The sea, man.
The under the sea.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
Do you think there's mermaid titans? That'd be cool.
Jesus Christ. Now that
different
everybody in the room is informed of the real situation of the outside world, they debate whether or not they let everybody know for fear that, possible mass panic, shit like that. Commander Pixis brings up a good point that keeping this information to themselves is no different than what King Reese did. So they do inform everybody about the outside world, that they're descendants of Ymir and that the outside world will be coming for their resources. And the first attack was, the Colossal Titan breaking down the door. The news is pretty much met with mixed emotions. Some believe, some think it's a conspiracy theory, just a whole wide range. A little bit of the chaos, but they were kind of expecting that, really. And then,
I was gonna say, like, in general, I feel like the population took this news pretty well for the most part.
And they're really hitting on heavily that, like, through this episode that, all these Titans you've been killing has been your own people, And then Hange and Levi meet with the reporters, and even the reporters express their concerns of where everything goes from here. What do we do now?
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. Then they have a ceremony for, like, all those who died during the battle, and then just, like, to also hand out medals and stuff. The one recruit, Floch, the one who was like a big sissy,
Yeah.
who came back with Erwin gives Armin, Mikasa, Eren, and Levi a piece of his mind and says they made the wrong choice in using the serum on Armin and not Erwin. He says they let their emotions get involved, and he's not the only one who thinks it should have been Erwin brought back. And like, I look around the room, and you can just see like all these other commanders giving them like dark side-eyed looks and shit like that. His speech does convince Armin that it was the wrong choice, and Eren has to pull him out of it by saying the future is unclear. They have no idea if it was the right choice or not until, it all happens or whatever. And Eren is making a compelling speech and abruptly stops when he sees Grisha's memory of his sister being killed by the dogs.
Yeah,
just like
really,
mid-speech.
That was the first like Eren moment I liked this episode, because he's like trying to explain how they know nothing of what's beyond the walls and how there could be anything out there, so Armin shouldn't assume that he was the wrong choice. And he's about to say like, we'll find freedom outside the walls, and when he like just then flashes back to Grisha, seeing the dogs that ate his sister, and like it's like, oh shit. So like Eren is having second thoughts about like these things as well, which is interesting, but they're like prompted by his flashbacks. There's another one that comes up soon, so
yeah. Then they start like getting their medals later on, and when Eren touches Historia, he has the memory of Grisha begging the nobles to kill the Titans outside the walls before they kill his family. Just like begging so much.
And this is like right after Eren is repeating to himself, like, I'm not gonna sacrifice Historia like for this. Like, I'm not gonna like make her like, I'm not gonna make her turn into a Titan or anything. I'm not gonna let anybody know about her. And then he touches her, and he sees this memory of like Grisha being like fucked over by her family, and it's like, should I really protect her? I don't know.
And then it does a little time jump from like from the winter to like the spring, maybe early summer, and they officially announce Wall Maria has been taken and start allowing people to move back in. They also kind of remind us it's been a full 6 years since the Colossal Titan attacked, to kind of give you how much has passed since that first season to now. The scouts head back out into the wild again, and they end up coming across a Titan, but it was like had a really big body and like so big it was just crawling towards the wall, and looks like it just apparently had given up and stopped at some point.
And they don't even bother to like kill it. Like no. Flock is like, shouldn't we kill this thing? And everybody's just like riding off towards the walls at the sea, basically.
Yeah. And then the moment we've all been waiting 3 seasons for, the infamous beach episode.
I didn't even think about it that way. This is a beach episode. You're right.
I mean, they did give you a little bit of a tiny thing there, I guess.
Oh yeah.
You get to see a little bit of Mikasa's legs. Everybody is pretty much just starstruck when they finally do get to the ocean, which is understandable since they have never ever seen anything like this. I mean, you would be just like, whoa, that's so much water. Mm-hmm. And everybody except for Eren, who has the memory, so he already knew what it was. And like everybody's like enjoying themselves and splashing around until Eren brings them back to reality and asks if they kill all the enemies across the sea, will they finally be free? So they basically escaped one cage to find themselves in another.
Another bigger cage, yeah. I also like there's like one shot of Armin standing in the water, and then we see his shadow against the beach, and it just looks like the Colossal Titan. And that was a really good shot. And I just like that they all got this like moment of like reprieve. I liked how long the camera looked at them just like looking out at the ocean, because they fucking deserved that. Like, it's been 6 years of this shit. Like, and they finally made it. Like, they finally got to the place that they believed existed, but they never were sure. Like, even Armin's like, all that shit I used to say as a kid was actually true. I can't believe it. And yeah, it was just so nice to see them get this moment to just like sort of relax and realize like we've made it to the end of the world, only for Eren to be like, what does this mean for us now? Like,
we still got work to fucking do.
Yeah. How many people do we have to kill before we're truly free? Basically, yeah.
And everyone just stops, and I'm like, we just wanted to be happy, but okay, Eren.
What? Eren killing the mood? Never.
Oh, Kat, what did you think of Eren's like longer haircut?
I mean, it's good that they changed up his look.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I like it better than his original look. It makes him look weirdly like his dad in some ways, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that.
I guess that's true, yeah. I kind of like the longer hair. I mean, he looks more grown up for sure. I don't know. Looks
I mean,
like
I guess
less
he
of
only
an
has a
idiot.
few more years to live, so he should look grown up, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to grow my hair out. I'm going to go to Woodstock, Titan Woodstock, and smoke a bunch of joints. And then I'll go kill everyone in the rest of the world. So that'll be fun.
Okay.
So one of my questions I thought of, like, when I was looking at the ocean was, like, do they have any knowledge of building boats that can handle the ocean?
Didn't they have like a barge in their canal system?
Maybe. I don't know.
Did, yes. So
Yeah,
I think
but that's
they
a
have some
canal,
idea.
not a fucking
Not
ocean.
an ocean. Yeah, like
They probably don't know a lot about tides.
unless there's like a book, unless it was like in the book that was in the basement, it's gonna be weird if they are able to build a boat that can actually cross the ocean and like circumnavigate the sea and stuff. Like I don't know. Like we'll
I think
see.
what they'll do is they'll go incognito, pretend they're normal people, and learn things and like travel that way.
What if Armin turns into the Colossal Titan and just carries everybody across the ocean?
No, I think they'll act like spies. They'll be like, we're just normal people in the world, and they'll like go look around and find out information and bring it back.
Yeah.
How? There is no information where on the island they're on.
No, I mean
No,
like they have to
to
cross.
leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They'll-
but how
they'll,
that
like,
still doesn't
Yeah, it doesn't
get
tell
tell
us
us how
how
to
to
get across.
I assume there's information in a book somewhere or something.
They'll figure it out. They're advanced military professionals. All right.
Also, but like the other thing is like the Beast Titan and the others are like still on the loose. So they have to figure out how to take care of them. They can't just like abandon everyone. To be.
I mean,
like,
that's true, but I feel like they need information. Really
They
bad.
do. So like they need like some people to cross the ocean for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, it'll be interesting. So this returns in fall of 2020. It was announced. There have been some weird rumors that like Studio Wit may or may not be working on that season, which will be the final season.
Why would they?
I don't know.
That's so dumb.
It's so dumb if they're not going
No.
to. Yeah.
We have seen firsthand what happens when you change studios. Stop it! Stop ruining my favorite things with
Yeah.
your bullshit!
Please,
That's
God, Studio Wit, please do the final season of Attack on Titan. You've done such a good job. Because we don't want One Punch Man season 2
don't
to
want
happen
another
again.
One Punch Man season 2.
I can't take
Don't.
another One Punch Man season 2.
Don't do it to me. Okay.
So, Kat, tell us about One Punch Man season 2, the final episode, episode 12.
I am so excited that this is the last episode that I have to write about. I am so psyched. You have no idea. Oh my gosh. I took the punch for you guys. I hope you appreciated it.
I mean, it's only one punch.
Oh, haha. Oh, so funny. Okay. Basically, in this episode, the old geezers beat up Garo. So Bang and Bomb, they're like, let's do this. And they whoop his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And then at one point, it turns into Dragon Ball Z. And there's just a lot of like, and like power ups
You
and
mean
dramatic screaming.
It actually looks good for one fucking episode.
That also, like the fighting was good, but like,
Seriously, I watched this episode and I was like, where the hell was the animation team the rest of the show?
Yeah.
This episode looked really good.
I mean, at least they
Well,
got some
also-
stuff right at the end. That's fine.
this wasn't supposed to be Dragon Ball Z, and somehow it was because there was, yeah. The monsters know that they're in the midst of all this fighting. The monsters find out that their team to retrieve Garo died and failed. So the bird wonders what he should do. The brothers continue to beat the shit out of Garo, and at one point, Garo thinks to himself, aren't they ashamed of themselves? And I'm like, no, Garo, they're not ashamed of themselves. You're a serial killer. They're probably proud of themselves. They're whooping a guy who's in his 20s. They're like 80 years old. They're probably proud as shit. It's not like you're a child. I don't know. You get these flashbacks of Garo. Like, oh, boo-hoo. The kids made him play a monster in their make-believe game. Like, it was so hard for him. I get that what they're saying is that he was bullied a lot as a child, and like no one was sympathetic to him because they didn't understand that he was being bullied and they just blamed him for it. I get that. That's a terrible thing. But this is like the Hitler question. So like people will say terrible things happened to Hitler and that's why Hitler was Hitler. Terrible things happen to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Most people don't become Hitler. Most people don't become Garo. So like I can feel bad that terrible things happen to him, but really not even that terrible because like this is a pretty normal thing that happens to people, right?
Sure.
But I can feel terrible and be like, that's awful that happened to you. But also, you killed like 20 people. So, relatively, you're still a piece of shit.
He killed like, was it like 100 people or something? He killed a lot of people, yeah.
He killed a lot of people. So, and I'm also confused at this point because like the bird grabs Garo and is like, haha, like I'm going to take you off. Like, right as he's about to do this DBZ power-up scream thing, like, he's like, ah! And he's glowing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm legit not lying when I say that for a while this was a Dragon Ball Z moment.
Yeah.
The bird grabs him, and he's like, no! And I'm kind of confused, because if Garo always wanted to side with the monsters, as the flashback said, why doesn't he want to become a monster?
I don't know.
He wants to become his own monster.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
It seems weird that he wouldn't just, become the thing that he identifies with the most, I guess, you know?
Yeah, so that kind of is confusing. But yeah, so at this point, there's a centipede. It's attacking Genos and Bang and Bomb. The three are busy trying to save the other heroes, so they can't grab up Garo as he's taken away by the bird thing. Garo is mad and wants the bird to put him down. The bird's like, fuck you, I'm stronger than you. I'm taking you to the monsters. We find out that the centipede wants to get Blast, which is like the #1 hero, to the battlefield.
He wants to get revenge.
He has like a beef with him of some kind.
I don't think he was #1 though. I think he was like 3 or something.
I don't know. They acted like he was. I don't know. He's high up there. The bird predicts that there's no way that these three can win against the centipede thing based on the weaknesses of their abilities, even though they're all very strong. At one point, the three of them did seem to defeat it, but they just made it molt and it just changed colors. And I was like, that sucks. It's like finding out that all you did was make the monster burp or something.
Yeah.
Genos suggests that the two of them run while Genos holds it off. He attacks its face, I guess. The two of them basically say that they don't want to do that. They want to help him fight. Genos gets torn apart at this point, and I do think this is awesome. So he gets torn apart. His parts fight separately, which is fucking amazing. He does the classic Naruto move. I will always call it the Naruto move because Naruto did this a lot. Goes into the mouth, blasts out a tooth, goes into the centipede, attacks it from the inside, like blasts it. You think he destroys the centipede. Doesn't work. That pissed me off because that was badass. Bang grabs him and saves Genos. And then at this point, Garo is still pouting about, like, oh, I wanted to defeat them. And I'm like, why are we still flashing back to him? And then the two brothers face off against the centipede thing. They know they can't beat it, especially after that Genos just did, and that did nothing. But then King comes, which I was like, why is it King that is here? I'm confused. It says he has brought Blast to fight, just like the centipede wanted, and just starts screaming on the microphone. And this distracts the centipede and gets it to come over. He did look scared as shit. Like, he looked like he's about to pee his pants. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
And then Saitama jumps in last minute and punches the centipede when he comes over to like attack him, you know.
Yeah.
So it works out. And I just love that moment when he comes out and he's like, oh, and it's fucking badass Saitama.
Well,
like
they've been
when he
making
looks
you
like
wait.
a fucking
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like his like cutesy face. I want the badass Saitama where he's like, yeah, and I'm just like, that's my man. That's the boy. That's my boy. Oh, if I think at this moment, if I could get any man from anime to be part of my harem, I would pick only the badass Saitama though, not like the other part of
Not
him,
the video game playing Saitama.
Yes. So he destroys the centipede. And then at this point it's over. And I'm like, why was this episode called like wipe the butt of the
Disciple.
Because he got his
disciple of-
ass kicked.
Well, I mean, Genos got his ass kicked, I guess. I
But
don't
like
know.
they didn't
Garrett,
wipe his
too.
ass. They whipped his ass. It should be whip the butt of a disciple.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't want it to be kinky. They're like, oh, if we put whip his ass, people will think it's kinky.
I was just like wondering throughout like much of this episode, it's like, when the fuck is Saitama going to show up? This is the final episode of this season.
I do get frustrated with this series because, like, Saitama is fun and Saitama's never in it.
Yeah, he's too overpowered to be in it, you know? But it wouldn't
But
be
I
a
like
problem
it.
if the other characters were like really charismatic and interesting. But like, and I think the first season handled that better than this
It
season did. But yeah,
Yes. The second season has just not been as good, unfortunately.
no.
Uh,
My only comment was, thank God it's over.
yeah, I'm excited to not have
Oh,
to cover
man.
this anymore.
And luckily, there was a 45-minute OVA Hot Springs episode of Sarah's On My, so let me talk about that right now. Leo, you ready?
Shoot me now.
Leo's like, you can't be serious.
I wish there was. I really do. Oh my gosh.
Oh man, it was so much fun. It was a giant water park that was just shaped like a butt, and there was like water spraying out of the butthole. It was great. It was a great episode.
Fantastic.
No, that doesn't exist, unfortunately. Oh well. So we'll have to move on to Carole Tuesday. Episode 12, which is halfway through the series, 24 episodes. It's We've Only Just Begun, which is the song by the Carpenters. We pick up on Tuesday being taken away by two members of her like mom's security
Okay.
force.
I just want to make a note before we start the episode.
Oh yeah.
Has anyone else seen that weird horror anime where they play that song like warped over and over in the hotel room?
What song?
Which song?
We've only just begun.
Oh, wait, horror anime.
Not a horror anime, sorry, a horror movie.
Oh, maybe.
And they're in a hotel room. It's a guy, and like, I don't remember the name. It's gonna bug me so much, and it fucked this song up for me. So now every time I hear that We've Only Just Begun, I just think of this horror movie where they
All right.
play it over and over.
Well, Leo, you Google that, and listeners, if we can't figure it out, let us know.
Yeah, because I really want to know now, because I don't know why it's etched in my brain so much. Anyway, go on, Bcom.
So yeah, like Tuesday's taken back home, and like her mom's like, do you know how bad it would be for my election campaign if people found out that my daughter ran away from home? And it's like, well, the cat's kind of out of the bag. She's been performing in like American Idol. Like,
It's probably going to look worse if she just doesn't show up.
yeah, exactly.
her-
Like that'll look way worse once the media like puts two and two together.
Right. I had
so
the same
anyway.
thing.
Yeah, it was dumb. So Valerie decides to lock Tuesday in her room for a week as punishment. And also her room has an electronic powered lock door that can be locked from the outside and not opened up. That's fucked. That's totally fucked up.
Oh, I think the
Anyway.
movie you're thinking about was 1408.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a Stephen King movie.
Yeah.
cool.
It's fucked up. Yeah, no, at one point, like, I was irritated with this because Tuesday at one point, like, gets a text from Carole. and just looks at it and decides not to text her back. And I'm like, okay, I get that you're stuck in your fucking room. You can still text her back. That's shitty.
I think she was having a problem trying to figure out what to say back.
Yeah, I think they're both trying to say something and not able to figure out what to say because they left on such awkward terms. And they were, like, fighting with each other. And so, yeah, it's that kind of thing. And so there's, like, a montage of, like, Tuesday moping around for, like, a few days. And she realizes she misses being with Carole and, like, vice versa. Carole misses being with her. And, like, Gus is getting a burger with Carole and compares the regret he feels about not trying to make things work out with Marie, with the Carole sitting around and not trying to get Tuesday back. And so he's like, what are you gonna do? And like Carole has like a mouthful of burger and she's like she's gonna go get her. So yeah, Tuesday's brother Spencer comes to visit her in her room and tells her about how he had thought about getting into music at one point, but then decided not to, and that's why
he's a cool dude, you know?
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Like it explains why he's been so supportive of her all along behind the scenes.
And he just has the well-being of his sister in his mind, you know?
Yeah. And so he's going to try and help her get out. And it's funny because like Gus and Carole grab Roddy and jump on a train towards Tuesday, and they're going to try to get her out at the same time, I guess. And before all that goes down, though, we get this like brief scene with Angela where she asks Mr. Tao about like the songs that are written for her by the AI script that he uses, and why they feel like they're reading her mind sometimes and expressing like even subconscious emotions. And he's like, well, Artian's lab is like a gigantic sensor, and it is basically like reading your mind and all of the things you say and taking all that in as data. And so even subconscious emotions can be expressed sometimes through the songs. And she's like, oh, that's interesting. That's fine. She's like totally fine with that. But she's like, I don't know if you know about this about me, but I actually perform for other people. And like up until this point, she's sort of been singing for her mother, Dahlia. But this next song that they've written, she feels like she can't sing this for her mom, probably because it's more about her mother, and as we'll see. And so she's like, okay, Mr. Tao, can I sing this song for you? Can you like give me your undivided attention? And he's like, fine, but just this one time. And so then we get the goofy sequence of like Gus, Roddy, and Carole at Tuesday's house, and like Roddy like jumping on the gate of the mansion and causing a commotion and stuff. But like Spencer has already like snuck Tuesday out because the mother had left in her like VTOL aircraft or whatever. And Carole and Tuesday like hug each other, and they start like running while Gus like holds off like the security and stuff. They get into this old man's car who just was like driving around the neighborhood.
I know. I was like, why would you ever do that? And why is he just hovering randomly?
He just
and why would
recognizes
he let you
them.
In his car? Like, all these things are bullshit.
Well, yeah. I mean, he recognizes them for sure because he's like a fan. And so he drops them off at the train station, and they just take the train back to Alba City. And Carole basically just says like she had become obsessed with winning the competition, or just like she was thinking about that and not thinking about anything else, and it made her forget what was really important, which was like the music and Tuesday. Tuesday basically just tells her like how she remembers how she cried when she saw Carole on the bridge when they first met, because she saw her and thought like, this is the girl, like this is the one. And so they make up and they're happy, and they run back to the competition. Angela performs first, and her song is all about being like lonely and chained down, but promising herself to light a fire in her soul to break through those chains. And so obviously Dahlia is part of what's been holding her back and chaining her down, and you can see why she wouldn't want to sing this song with her mother in mind, but no, Mr. Tao instead. And it's a pretty good performance. What'd you guys think of the song?
It was good. All of her songs are always good.
There's been some of my friends memed about it because like the lyrics were basically fire, 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 fire in like the chorus. But I was like, no, I don't care. It sounds good.
No, I mean, all of her songs are songs that would get stuck in your head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're catchy. She also makes eye contact with her assistant, who's like in the back of the audience, Katie. And gives her like a smile. So I felt like they sort of like came to an agreement in that moment. They sort of made up as well.
Well, Angela never apologized to her for mistaking her for whatever, hurting Tuesday. Yeah,
exactly. And so Carole and Tuesday show up, but they're late. And so Catherine, the judge, is like, yeah, the rules say that if you're not present at the start of the competition, you're disqualified from winning. And the girls are just like, all right, we'll accept a disqualification, but we just want to sing really badly right now. And the judges aren't sure, but then Angela's like, no, let them sing, please. Because even before the performance, when Dolly was telling Angela Carole and Tuesday hadn't shown up, she was angry because she didn't want to just win by default. Like, because that would look bad.
Well, it was also just the one judge that said they couldn't really perform like the other. Other one, or at least the other two, were like, come on, give them a chance.
Yeah, give them a chance. Let's do this. Yeah. And I thought it was funny because so they choose to sing Loneliest Girl again, which is the first song they wrote. And it's so similar to Angela's song because it's all about being lonely. And then like there's even a line about like setting the night on fire. It's almost exactly the same song.
I noticed that too, like how they're different songs, but also how like similar they are. I just thought that was really cool and like a really, most likely a very intentional direction from Watanabe, which is that's fantastic.
I think it's supposed to come across as like Angela's is like the pop ready radio version of this emotion, whereas these two girls have written like this indie version that is actually based on real emotions and not written by a machine. And while Angela is a great performer and she can sell that version, like Carole and Tuesday's song is better overall. Though I think I don't know, it's going to be tough because like we're getting to the point where it's like music is really subjective. And we've heard this song before in this show also, though we haven't heard the entire song. They sang an extra verse.
The full or extended version or something like that?
It was the whole version with like a couple extra verses. Which were good, but it's just like, I mean, some people are probably going to prefer Angela's performance to their performance or just the song based on the kind of music they like or don't like. And that's a tough thing for this show to get over. But they show the audience like really reacting, like Ertegun fucking breaks out in tears, like fucking Ertegun. It was like specifically a line about like your heart and like not hiding like deceit in your heart or something that got through to him when they were singing. But I
don't know. It just seems unrealistic to me. Like, I am so skeptical of all this.
I agree. It seems a little bit skeptical. It felt a little bit over the top that they got like all a standing ovation and everything. But in the end, the judges stick to the rules, and Catherine's like, Angela, you were the winner. However, just in this one case, because nobody else would be satisfied if they didn't do something,
which also made me irritated that they did that.
I loved the way that they did this.
This is like exactly what I predicted. Like that Angela would win, but in a way that she felt like she didn't win.
No! They should not have given them that fucking debut. What should have happened is they should have been like, Angela wins, but you did a good job. That's great. And then they should have gone out into the world and people would be like, oh, we remember you from the show. And then they would have had to make their way. That's what should have happened.
You know, in some ways, I think that would have been stronger too. But
yes.
I think they probably want to go in a direction where this corporation, Mars Brightest, now has control over their debut and probably will try to like force them to compromise their artistic integrity somehow. That's my guess. I've seen a little bit of the next episode, so I think like that might be like a little bit of a knowledgeable guess, but
interesting.
But yeah, like I know a lot of people who were really pissed that they were like, oh, they both won, even though they didn't really both win.
No, I don't like that bullshit. That's no, people lose in this world. That's the way the world works. So
well, I felt like they had to win somehow. It's just kind of, how anime works.
Yeah.
So like them doing it this way, I was pretty happy with because I didn't see them winning the fucking contest itself. But
Right.
so I just really like that they did it this way. That's how I see it.
Oh, and Leo's note reminded me of something. So, like, Gus and Roddy are in, like, a jail cell, like, being held. But there's, like, a TV that they can see the performance from their jail cell.
And there's a bunch of other guys, and they're all crying at the end.
Yeah. Oh, my God. It's
Loved it.
hilarious. This is good stuff. I don't know. I'm still really enjoying this show. But, yeah, it does have some issues with, like, just believability at times. And a lot of that comes down to the music needing to sell that it is like that much better than the other song that it's competing against. And it's really hard to do that without making one song just like bad, So,
Right.
Anywho, that's the end of the spring 2019 season of anime. Woo!
Except for JoJo.
Except for JoJo, which we'll
I
cover.
mean, except for, I guess Carole Tuesday. I mean, there's continuing shows, but
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yaiba and Tuesday will go on. But I wanted to get into some shows that we maybe watched outside of the podcast.
Yeah, I never finished some of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff
Oh,
I
I
didn't
know.
finish. Like,
I also did not. I saw that Bcom had like Bokuben on his list, which
Yeah.
I also did not finish. I want to though. I'm going to.
yeah, I haven't finished that one, but I'm like 8 episodes in. I've been group watching it, and
I think the
Yeah.
farthest I got was Hitoribocchi, and I made it. Oh wow! I just haven't watched the last episode.
Nice.
there was something about Hitoribocchi that like I had so much trouble finishing the last few episodes of that show. I don't know, like it got so repetitive, I felt. And
Oh, you guys were so on that too.
I'm honestly so glad that we didn't cover Hitoribocchi and that we chose Sarazanmai over it. Like, that was a good decision in my opinion. Because, like, I watched all of Hitoribocchi. I gave it, like, a 4 out of 10. I thought it was really cute at times, but it was really repetitive and samey throughout the whole thing. And it's really great for reaction faces. Not much else, though.
I did watch Ao-chan. That was good.
I liked
I'd probably
Ao-chan.
give that like a
Yeah.
7 or an 8. Because it's just like fun and cute. It's not supposed to be anything. I also watched all of the Helpful Fox Senko-san.
Mhm.
I did watch all of that. It was probably like a 6. It's what it is supposed to be. It's not anything fancy.
Yeah, it's not fancy. Yeah, it's fine.
It's like, ooh, look, it's cute fox girls. They do cute things.
I watched all of the girls' baseball anime Cinderella 9, which is like.
Oh my god! Why, Bcom? This is why I
group watched
question you.
with a friend of mine who like also likes baseball. And like we got so absurdly into this show for the dumbest reasons, like because we all like picked like a best girl like really early on. Like,
Wow.
and so like he liked this blonde girl and like he was rooting for her throughout the entire show. And then I liked the stupid girl with the cat ear Kigurumi because she was just so dumb. And so it was like this huge competition to see like who would be the like who would make the winning play at the end of the show. And like in the last episode, spoiler alert, the cat girl Kigurumi girl makes like a diving catch, like diving into the fence to like save the game. And I was like screaming in voice chat when that happened. And the thing about Cinderella 9 is that it is like the worst animated anime I've maybe ever seen. It's so bad. I gave this show like a 1.
You describe screaming in excitement, and yet you've given it a 1. what is that thought process
It's
like?
so
Bcom?
bad though. Like everything about the anime is bad.
That was a straight up hate watch for you. It's exactly what that was.
I guess maybe I should give it like a 2 because I didn't hate it. And I usually reserve 1s for things I hate, but it was just so incompetent.
I guess I should give it a 2. Oh my god.
It's so incompetent as an anime. It's like it's just awful. It's like a slideshow and it's terrible.
Honestly, this season just was not that great. Like the only thing outside of the podcast that I was like every week I was excited to watch the new episode was the Fox anime.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know that you guys don't understand it.
I understand it.
Discovered
We
from
know
this
you wanted
anime,
one of your own. I remember
want
this.
a wife. That's what I want. Damn it! I want a wife.
Yes.
I want to come home. She's making dinner in the kitchen. That's what I need. I've decided. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go out there looking.
You want her fluffy tail as well?
I mean, I don't give a shit about that part. I just loved the part where he would come home and she'd be like, "Hello, I've made you this meal, and here's some sake," or whatever.
All right. Should we get into the final ratings and comments on the shows we actually spent
Yes.
12 weeks with?
Yes.
All right, I'll kick it off with Fruits Basket, which is not finished. Not even close to finished, by the way.
I was pissed off at you guys for your ratings. I felt you did this too harshly, and the only reason you did this harshly is because it's not your kind of thing.
I don't think so. No, I just think, okay. Yeah. Well, I'll go first. Okay. So I thought the show has been really mediocre for like the last several weeks. And we've been talking about that, like in and out for those episodes. I thought it started off really well with like a really good string of episodes that had a lot to say about like people who suffer from abuse and how they have trouble connecting to each other, people who are orphaned and who have to try to find love and new families despite all of that pain. But for weeks now, I felt like it's just been kind of treading water. And I think it's going to have a hard time getting continued by us next season because like there are a lot of good shows in this summer.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, I won't disagree with you, but I also don't think it's as bad as you guys are rating it.
Yeah, I gave this like a 5 out of 10, which is like just average. Like, and like I had it above average for most of the season until near the end, like the last 4 or 5 episodes. Like I was just getting really frustrated with it.
I mean, I would even say a 6 is fine. Like, because for me, I was debating between a 6 and a 7. I'm not inflating it. It's not the best thing in the world.
Right.
Like, it is just Fruits Basket.
And like I'll definitely continue to watch this, and I think it's a good show to watch weekly because I don't think I could really binge this show because it's just like too much of the same thing.
It's just a fluffy fun. I mean, as it goes on, it gets less fluffy, but at first, it really is just fluff.
Yeah.
So.
Would you rate it?
Oh, I rated it 7 out of 10 because, like I said, I was debating between a 6 and a 7.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like a 7 was a little strong for the last few episodes, but I also felt like a 6. I mean, especially with what you guys were being harsh, and I was just like, it's between the two. So,
okay, I gave it a 4 out of 10. I was really just miserable watching this show towards the end. I did like it start, but then just like episode like 5 and onwards, and it's just like the story was just going nowhere. I was never feeling compelled to watch the next episode or even care what had to go on. I didn't feel like I had a reason to. And really, the story could have ended at any time, I felt like, because there was nothing to like hype up the next episode or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. All right, so for JoJo, we're not done with it yet. So we'll probably grade this in a couple episodes whenever we talk about episode 39, the final episode. So you'll have to wait until then for JoJo grades. But we also have mid-season grades for Demon Slayer. Leo, what'd you think of that?
So I give that one 8 out of 10. The animation in the show is just so good. This is mid-season, by the way. The fight scenes are like season 1 of One Punch Man to me. It's just so awesome. And there's so much going on, but don't get me wrong, the story is good and it's interesting to me. But if I had to pick a flaw, the story kind of gets dull at times for me. And I believe you guys said that earlier. And also Zenitsu, fucking God. He's such a thorn in my side when I watch the show. I hate that character so much.
Yeah. So what was your score for it for the first half?
8 out of 10.
Yes, for me, I'm a little bit lower. I'm at a 7 because I honestly would have had this higher if not for Zenitsu and the boar guy being introduced in the last few episodes of the season and just being the most fucking annoying shonen sidekick idiots imaginable. I think, like you said, the animation and fight choreography of the show is just like a joy to watch. Like, it's so creative and good. And I really enjoy Tanjiro as like, you know, just a really fun shonen main character. I have my reservations about how Nezuko is handled in the show, as I've like repeated week by week, but
That's fun.
I still really enjoy watching the show, and I hope those two idiots don't ruin it going forward for me because, man, yeah.
I think Nezuko is cute, but like the symbolism of her being a waifu who literally cannot speak.
Oh
is,
yeah. And the internet has run
frustrating.
wild with that stuff. So.
Oh,
yeah.
it's so frustrating to me.
Yeah.
I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think the animation's amazing. It's well produced. But the story is just bland. It's not bad, but I'm never like excited to find out what happens next, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like Muzan is not like the most interesting villain yet. He has some interesting things about him. He's a little bit mysterious, but it's pretty like cookie cutter, like shonen, like big bad guy has like a bunch of like lieutenants underneath him, you know, the 12 guys you have to beat first. And the fights are great though. Then the fights are carrying the series, so yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dororo. So this was solid all the way through for me, all 24 episodes. Like, I really love the two main characters and their chemistry with each other. Like Hyakimaru's trial by fire to discover like what is worth living for in life, and like what regaining his humanity truly meant was like a fascinating journey to watch week to week. And Dororo was just really charming as his sidekick and had her own interesting arc of, you know, depicting the pain of living in a war-torn time period like this and realizing that people would need to find a way to take control of their own destinies, and instead of being like caught up in all of these wars with and samurai and corrupt warlords just, you know, trampling over them. The animation was definitely jank at times. That's maybe an understatement. But I liked the general presentation of the show in other ways, like the whole aesthetic of the show and like the music in the show I thought were well done. So I don't know, maybe it's a little bit high, but I'm going to go with an 8 because I thought it was really solid.
Ooh.
I hover between a 7 and an 8. Like if I was to grade the last episode, I'd give it a 7 just because of the fucking mountain thing. But it was solid overall, and there's not a lot of shows that you can say that it's solid overall. So I did settle on a 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. It ended decently. The mysticalness made it a little strange, but that's normal. I did like the theme of deciding what to do with your own life. It's good. It took a while to get there, though. I don't care as much about the animation as Bcom does. I just felt like it kind of wandered around for a while before getting to the point, which is not always a bad thing, but sometimes the episodes in between didn't entertain me enough. So.
Okay. Yeah, I gave it the same score, 7.5 out of 10. It's a very strong story. Unfortunately at times suffered animation wise. It did a great job of exploring if whether or not what Hyakimaru was doing was right or wrong. The body parts are technically his, and he has, you know, rights to reobtain them, but then on the other hand, does he just make the sacrifice for the land rather than his own desires, you know? And I think it did a pretty good job of exploring that. And just, you know, if you want a good story, this is definitely one to check out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If you're coming in for the animation, it's not for you.
Maybe not. Yeah. But the whole like atmosphere of it is like chill and relaxing and fun with the fights with the demons. So,
you easily get sucked in and wrapped up in this story pretty easily.
Kat, what'd you think of season 4 of Attack on Titan?
Okay, so 9 out of 10. Like, I was excited for this season of Attack on Titan because, like, we're actually getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Things are happening. Oh my god. The animation is still amazing. Like, Aaron's flowing hair. You could see every single shiny strand. It was ridiculous. We're actually learning things, and I'm not disappointed with the things that we're learning. They're not mediocre. You're surprised. There's twists and turns. The show is doing well. I mean, most shows that come back after a huge time gap do not go well. This show did. I'm happy.
That's true.
And it's got a next big time gap here. Just a little over a year before the next one comes out.
Hopefully they can maintain the quality. We'll see.
So I gave it a 9 out of 10 also. I felt like they really killed it this season. delivered on so many questions. Finally got like a lot explained. The action was also really great, and it had a really good couple twists and turns. Like the part where like we thought Armin was dead, and we thought Erwin was dead, but then we find out we can keep one alive, and then not surprising they picked Armin, but it was just like wow. Bcom.
I gave this a 10 out of 10.
Wow, dude, high praise.
For me, like, yeah, this second half of season 3 just like completely lived up to the promise of Attack on Titan from like the very beginning for me in like every way. Like, I really enjoyed the first half of season 3, but this went like far above and beyond that for me, like in terms of like payoff. And like the action scenes were all great as usual. The animation was fine. But it was just the build up to this payoff and like all the moral quandaries that like have arisen from everything that they discover down in that basement and like all of the wide reaching implications of that and how they all like retroactively make the rest of the show a better story that I'll want to return to again and again and again. And like I may have said that after the beginning of season 3 part 1, but now it's like definitely I will go back and watch this series again when it's all over. And so that's why I decided to give it a 10.
I'd love to group watch it with people who have not seen it.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun actually. That would be really fun.
So fun to watch them react to shit.
It'd be cool to do that before the next season comes out sometime like next year or something. That'd be good.
And sit there and you know something's getting ready to happen and like it'd be awesome if you could see their face, or would you at least be able to hear their voice? Be like, what the? It'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, I think I gave the first half of season 3 like a 9. So like as a whole, I would give all of season 3 like a 9.5 probably. But
okay,
yeah, this was just like kind of blew me away how good the writing was in this, and like long-term planning was impressive to me. So yeah.
It had one of those, like, your brain explodes moments, which you don't get a lot.
Right.
Anything, really. So you got to applaud that.
Yeah, they did a really good job of, like, bringing up a couple questions in season fucking 1 and never answer them until fucking 50-some episodes later, or 48, whatever it was.
Oh, yeah.
So that was, yeah.
Good stuff.
One Punch Man season 2. I gave it a 6 out of 10. Was still a fun show for me to watch. It definitely cannot even come close to standing up to its season 1, though. That does suck. I am feeling confident that if they do stay with JC Staff, it seems, from what you can tell from that final episode, they kind of figured the animation out. And I'm not here for the story. I also already know the story. So I'm just here to watch flashy shit and awesome fight scenes. And if JC Staff does come back, and they do end up getting a season 3, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that they keep up with the animation from that last episode. So,
all right, it's time for me to pull a Leo. This is a 2 out of 10. I hate Kat for making me watch this. I can't believe you made me watch this the whole season, Kat. I hate you.
You know that we had to watch it. It was our duty. It's One Punch Man. It's just like when Steins Gate came out and it was a mess and we hated it and we watched it anyway. This is the way it goes.
We didn't have to do this to ourselves.
We did. When I picked this, didn't I say I'm going to do it for the listeners? I'm going to take the bullet. I knew it was going to be some shit.
But look, we need to learn from this, Kat, because like we could have reviewed Senko-san every week, and it would have been hilarious. We should have done that.
Do you really think we should have?
I don't know. I would have had more fun with it.
Part of me is like, shouldn't we be good anime journalists and cover the things that like everyone's wondering about?
Absolutely
and
not.
Part of me does. Part of me wants to be like, fuck it, we're gonna do Senko-san and everyone can laugh. I don't know. What kind of podcast do we want to be? Maybe a little of column A and a little of column B, but like it's hard to know where that line is sometimes.
A little column XXX.
Yes, always.
Anyway, I think my issues with the show are like well documented. Like the animation was real jank, except it had a couple moments, like Leo was saying, that were good. And I hated the story of this season. I didn't think it went anywhere. Yeah, just boring. It bored me. Anyway, Kat, what'd you rate this?
All right, I rated it 5 out of 10. I mean,
Would you say 5 out of 10 snacks?
Oh,
Stick.
I mean, this is my feeling about it. They made it. It exists. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I don't think I can continue to watch it if they can bring out more, which is a shame because I love badass Saitama, but like he's barely in the show anyway. And when he is in the show, it's only for a few seconds. And there's too many characters, too much randomness, and like not the fun kind of randomness, just like confusion.
What if I told you it never stops?
Then I have no hope then. Why would I watch it?
It seriously just does nothing but just keep going at this pace of expanding characters. And they bring back one here and there and stuff. And like here just recently, Saitama finally actually did something again. I swear, Saitama wasn't even in it for like 3 months straight.
Yeah.
It was rough.
The whole plot just feels like word vomit.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Agreed.
I don't know.
It's so weird coming from the same author as Mob Psycho, but I guess he wrote this before.
You know,
so.
I see it though, because Mob Psycho 2 did not turn out as great as I thought it would.
Yeah, true. Near the end, yeah.
So he can do a strong start, but then he just kind of putters out
finish.
after a while.
He can't finish.
He's
well.
good at world building. He needs like an editor or something, somebody to keep him on track. Yeah,
He needs some help with learning to continue a story well.
But you know who also needs an editor is Ikuhara.
He needs to learn not to cut so damn much. He could have had another 2 or 3 episodes if he'd asked for them. You know he could have.
Well, I don't think they allowed him. Like, I don't think his like the people who like produced this television show wanted more than 11 episodes is the problem. But
I mean, he's famous. He could have gotten him if he wanted.
You would think so. Yeah, I don't know. It's strange to me that he only did 11 episodes here because, like, yeah, that was my main complaint. I also felt this show felt rushed and really could have used at least a few more episodes to really flesh out specific, like, individual characters. I think Enta really got the short shrift here. Like, he didn't get a big catharsis really at the end of this show like the other 2 main characters did, and even the cops did. And I love the cops. I love the Kappas. I thought this was one of the most unique and interesting and weird shows I've seen in a while, and I like it just because of that. I would watch this show 1,000 more times before I watched another second of something like Shield Hero. So I gave this a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was very solid, if really strange and not completely connected.
I loved it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was different and refreshing, and it wasn't boring. And I was excited every week, and I loved the I am an abstract concept.
God, Ikuhara, you're so ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. I loved like the random shit they threw in there. The ending could have been better. That's the only thing I would like harp on a bit. Overall, I loved it. So
cool.
And here's Leo. Here, let's watch him be the puckered asshole. Go on, Leo.
3 out of 10 puckered kappa assholes.
You did it. Good job, Leo.
You're
but
welcome.
why did you not like this, Leo? I don't understand.
I just thought it was dumb from the beginning, and like the over dramatization, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I spent every moment just rolling my eyes at the 3 boys, just like, you guys are just, you're dumb. I guess.
They were dumb. That is true. Can't deny that.
Yep.
Capadish! Okay, so Carole Tuesday, mid-season score. Kat, you go first.
All right, so it was a 9 out of 10 for me. I don't even know. It's just really good. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, you guys know. It's, duh. Like, I just hope it keeps being good.
Okay.
I'll always worry with these shows because, like, sometimes it starts out really great and then it'll fuck up. So
yeah, that's true.
I'm always hesitant.
I have some worries about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it keeps going.
So, same thing, 9 out of 10. If the show keeps up with the level it's at right now, I feel like I'll have to end up giving it a 10 out of 10 when it finishes. I think that'll be my first one ever on this podcast, unless my memory fails me.
I don't
There are very few shows that I will give a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
like
it's rare. Yeah.
At 10, you gotta like surprise me, and then just kind of even then go ahead and keep blowing my expectations out of the water.
For me, a show has to be like almost art for it to get a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something that you'll remember for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I give it such a high score, frankly, because I can't really find a fault in the show. Tuesday's my biggest fault is probably Tuesday's mother running for president and Tuesday not under constant surveillance for safety reasons.
Yeah.
Does bother me a little bit, but I'm not going to let that just ruin the show for me. Like the moment like anybody becomes a candidate for presidency, they immediately are under the Secret Service, them and their whole fucking family. So yeah, and then even afterwards, once they are president and they're over with the rest of their life, the Secret Service watches after them. So, like, yeah, just the fact that she's just fucking running wild through the streets I'm just like, okay.
So yeah, I'm with the other two. I also gave this a 9 out of 10. Earlier in the season, I had this at like a 10, like straight up.
This is the best scored one from
yeah,
the season for us.
between all of us.
That
Yeah.
and Attack on Titan.
No, Attack on Titan, I'm sorry, because Bcom gave it the 10, which gives it 1 extra point.
Does it? Oh yeah. Never mind. Attack on Titan. Haha. At the beginning of the season, I had it reversed. I had like Attack on Titan at a 9 and this at a 10. But yeah, it was just that Mars Brightest competition. It dragged a little bit for me.
I didn't like that they kept giving them all the positive
I hate those shows, but
Yeah.
I fucking enjoyed the shit out of it in this one.
I
in
really
this
liked all the
anime.
goofy performances up front. Those were fun.
I think it was that. I think
Okay,
it was the
yeah.
goofy
So-
performances that helped.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked that fucking bullshit song has not become like a meme.
Yeah, what the fuck? I guess
You
because
know what's
it's not.
funny
think
about
that
that
would be a
is
really
those
good
guys
meme.
passed the auditions.
Yeah, it's true. It's so good.
But do you think someone would have like appropriated that and made it into like a meme where like you would see a picture of something and then that GIF on the side?
Yeah.
It would be perfect. I don't
Yeah.
understand why it's not a meme.
I'm surprised I haven't seen that either. And maybe it's
There you
because
go, make it a meme.
maybe
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cat meme starter.
I would say maybe it's because most people haven't seen it yet because it has yet to actually hit Netflix. But I mean, a lot of people have
That's true.
still watched this, so I don't know. Yeah, I think the show has like a believability problem, like I was talking about in this last episode, just with you having to believe that Carole Tuesday's music is like objectively better somehow than like Angela's or somebody else's.
Well, you also have to
know.
believe 2 teenage girls can write these crazy
songs.
good songs.
Yeah, like dancing laundry. Yeah. I hope they do a better job of that part in the second half of the show, basically, like just in Carole and Tuesday growing together. I'm also really heavily invested in how Angela ends up. I think her story is just as interesting as the other two girls.
I will agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So there's a lot to be invested in going forward. So I'm super excited to watch the rest of the show. It's just not perfect for me right now, but hopefully they turn it around, and at the very least we're going to get some great music out of the rest of this. So I'm excited for that.
I will be buying the soundtrack, which is really rare for me.
Oh
Same.
yeah, absolutely. All right.
Moving on to just very quickly what our favorite shows of the season were. We can go ahead and just group Kat and I together because we both gave 9s to Carole and Tuesday.
That's
And
weird.
Attack on Titan season 3
Leo,
part
you
2.
and I are not supposed to be aligned like this. That's weird.
Not just one show, 2.
I love how like on the big things we agree, but then on the like less important things we're so violently opposed.
Yeah, true.
Also-
Bcom, what was yours though? You had 1.
My favorite is definitely Attack on Titan, which I gave 10
Right.
out of 10. My only question was going to be, do you think JoJo will be up there for either of you?
Man, I haven't thought about how I would rank JoJo yet. To me, JoJo gets its own like separate ranking system. Like I compare it to its other seasons or something like that,
Yeah.
because like at times things you gotta like really wrap your brain around like how something works. And like if I sat down and like the episode we did today and really broke down that shadow stuff, I could have figured it out, but I I don't really have the time and effort to do it.
Not motivated to do that, yeah.
No, it's just I'm just going to accept it and move on for whatever crazy new thing happens next. So I don't know. I'll think about it when I see the next 3 episodes.
Yeah, I'll say with like 3 episodes to go, I still think part 4 is the better JoJo part for me anyway. But we'll see. Maybe they'll do something really crazy in the last couple episodes because JoJo does often do crazy shit in the last couple episodes. So I'm excited.
Yeah, part 4 that was Diamond is Unbreakable, right?
Oh yeah, I love that fucking part. It's
I
good.
think I like the one before it, Bizarre Adventures, a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Or do you mean Stardust Crusader? Do you mean like the Egypt
Stardust
part?
Crusaders?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
That one.
I just want it to make sense at the end. Like if I get to the end of this and I'm confused, then I'm not going to rate it well.
It makes enough sense if you sit there long enough and like.
Oh, okay.
If you do enough drugs and drink enough, it makes sense.
Well, like there for a while, we didn't know why Narantia got killed, and then what happened with the pistol. To come to find out, that Diavolo was inside somebody the whole time.
So what you're saying is I need to call my friends who grow the magic mushrooms in their spare room and be like, I need some.
Help.
It's gonna be the time that I finally try these.
I don't know if I do JoJo. That may be too much. Sensory overload.
So we'll
they'll get to the Dororo part, and you'll be like, "This has been going on for 4 hours."
So we'll
or
probably
Muda.
We'll probably talk about
this
JoJo more in episode 100 coming up, which is going to be more of a laid back and fun episode. We'll take a break from doing weekly anime reviews for once.
By the way, I went to the JoJo panel at Anime Expo.
Yes.
And there was a point where they wanted all of the people there to do the sound. Yeah. And imagine like thousands of people all in a room going
That's awesome.
And then they also had them do the Muda.
Oh, that's fun.
That's really fun.
JoJo panels are always crazy because the people that go to them are crazy JoJo people.
Are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anyway.
Good times. All right, Kat, take us out.
All right. Let's see here. You put too much shit in this stock. Bcom. Okay. Thanks for listening. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube to get updates on new podcasts or videos. You can find our podcasts on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and you know where to get podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at Nerdom Another for updates. You can follow us on Discord. The link is in the description. And with that, we'll see you next week with a very special 100th episode. Be excited.
Oh, I'd like to throw in, if anybody plays Destiny 2 on Xbox, we're pretty active now again and actually have a raid group weekly. So yeah, come play with me. Gamer tag is Heavy Metal Leo. It's the same as my name on Discord.
Destiny is great again. Woo!
Yeah, even better in September.
Awesome.
All right, see you next week.
We'll see you guys
Later.